ain't something new under the sun. You can't take back them things you already done. No. You blame.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and we are back for episode 74 of the Erick and Brad Show. Episode 74 of the Erick and Brad Show. Sorry we had to take off last week. Erick just got back from Wisconsin. All he said was he was visiting his buddy Kyle. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about, but that's what was going on. erickandbradshow@gmail.com, erickandbradshow@gmail.com. Thank you again for coming back and hearing us. Here we are for episode 74. How's it going, man?
Good, man. Finally got that money for that AR I sold that kid. Fucking took forever.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah. How's Bradley doing?
Good. Oh, I'm good. I've just been playing my new favorite game, Halo Infinite.
Oh, have
Just
you?
hanging out. Yeah.
Real talk?
Yeah.
And you haven't been getting on with us? God damn it.
I mean, I'd play with you, but just I'm not having a mic.
Well, you don't have a mic?
No, I don't. I'm not going to use a mic, but I'd play.
What? Okay, that's weird. I guess a discussion for another time.
Yeah, I just don't want to talk.
Like, you don't own a microphone, or you just don't want to.
I own a mic, but I'm not going to use it.
Why?
Because I listen to stuff, and the game's on like low volume, and I'm listening to talk radio while I'm playing.
Okay.
I don't want to talk to people. They're going left. They're going left. I'm fine without talking.
Okay.
But I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it.
Nothing
better than Halo.
Either we throw it at the beginning, throw it at the end. I might as well throw it at the beginning of this. God, I'm covered in hair. Yeah, just if you guys have topics that you want us to talk about, you should email us to talk about those topics. You know what I mean? Every email we get is usually commentary on the topics we bring to the table. If you guys have a topic, you're like, hey, I want to hear them argue about that. I will argue anything. So if you send a topic, I will argue it. So just so you know, little PSA. I agree. I thought that needed to be said.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you want to talk about? It's not on my list. You want to talk about this Rittenhouse thing? It's obviously top of the fucking food chain of media right now.
The trending topics. It's not on my list either because I'll talk about it a little bit. But the thing is, so from my opinions are that I didn't follow it at all. Basically, up until the last 2 days. All I know is basically what people have posted. I think it's probably the most boring case of all time. I don't think any good documentaries are going to come out of this. I don't think any good books are going to be written about this. It's not OJ. It's not Michael Jackson. It's not Trayvon Martin. It's extremely boring to me, and I think that kid looks like Pinocchio. And I think that all of those people who were involved shouldn't have been outside. I think he shouldn't have been out there in a riot. I think people that were rioting shouldn't have been out there. And I don't really care what happened. It doesn't affect my life at all. I think that people on social media are all acting like they're lawyers or that they're judges or that they're on the jury when none of them were in the courtroom. So if a jury comes to a decision that 12 people agree upon, a protest isn't going to change their minds, and I don't think you have any more information than the jury does. People are like, well, this happened, well, this, so he's obviously guilty. It's obviously an open and shut case. 12 people didn't think that. Unless you're accusing the jury that is being corrupted, is being bought, unless there's some conspiracy that this whole jury has agreed upon, then they came to the decision that they did, like, as, in line with the law, And I don't see how can you disagree with that? It's like, okay, well, you may think OJ is an actual murderer, but the jury came to a decision that that there was reasonable doubt. And in the confines of the law or whatever, maybe there's reasonable doubt. If there's any shred of reasonable doubt, you have to acquit. So that's what they did. And everyone online just thinks that they're a lawyer. I'll just say whatever the jury says is right. If the jury would have convicted him of murder, then they're right.
Yeah,
But they didn't.
That was kind of a thought process I was having last night. And I haven't seen it.
I also
I'm sure,
don't know anything really about this case other than what I've seen on social media.
I'm sure someone on Twitter said what I'm about to say, but I haven't seen anyone say it on like my people I follow. But it seems like what are you guys saying? Are we just gonna get to the point where we're just calling this racist? You know what I mean? That it was a racist jury. You know what I mean? Like it's all white people, but I'm sure someone's claiming you know, yeah, I feel the same way. It's like, do you not trust? Like, I get people like, I don't trust fucking cops. You know what I mean? Or judges, pieces of shit. Well, this was a jury. Yeah. This was a jury trial. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't know. To me, almost like Animal Farm shit. Haven't we decided that this is the most fair way to decide someone's fate? You know what I mean? By trial by jury? Like, I don't know. Yeah. And then, it's funny. Just, well, this piece of shit should be rotting in jail, or vice versa. Like, it was like, you, first off, you weren't there. You know, you weren't like in the courtroom. And if you've been following it that hardcore, like, you need to find something better to do, because then again, it's not that interesting of a case. Like, a kid was out there, shot someone. Why this is top tier news? It shouldn't be, because it shouldn't be. The reason it's top tier news is obvious. You know, it's obvious that this is just a perfect. If somehow he had an abortion in the middle of it, Jesus Christ, we would have fucking never have stopped talking about this. But it's just, guns, obviously that's kind of seems to be a big thing recently. And then just like almost Republican versus Democrat in a way, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be out there on the streets. Well, you shouldn't have a big fucking gun,
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Well, the thing is, people say that if he was black, it would have been open and shut as a guilty verdict. And I know what they're saying. I understand what you're saying, and there's been documented history of judges who make, racist sentences.
But this would have been a trial by jury. So
right.
What you're saying, if you're saying if it would have been a black kid, then you're just going back to everyone's racist. You know what I mean? And as soon as you make that claim with zero proof, just if that's how you think, I totally disagree with you, and we're never going to get anywhere in a conversation, because you just see racism where I don't see racism. And why this is, and I keep hearing it, like when I hear like Candace Owens talk about it or something like that, like somehow this case, race just keeps getting brought up, and it's like, why? And it's not like the basic narrative, but for some reason race always gets tied in. It's like, these were all white people. Every single fucking person involved with this was a white person. Yeah. And somehow, you know what I mean? Well, it was because it was during the riots. It's like, any way we can make something about race, we just love to make it about race. It's goddamn ridiculous.
Yeah, and they just say it's about race because if they think if he was black, that he would have been convicted guilty. And, I get what they're saying. We'll never know. You're basing that off of sort of a judgment in your own head. We'll never know if he was black, if he would have been guilty. We'll never know. That's a
ridiculous thing. It's that's being like, well, if he was a Martian, they would have put him in jail instantly. It's like, okay, so everyone hates Martian people? Like, that's a ridiculous thing to say, because I can never disprove what you're saying. At all.
You can't.
There's zero way to disprove that.
Right. And look, I remember reading about judges who, for the same crime gave out harsher sentences to black kids than white kids. or sent them to worse prisons or whatever for the same cases. You're talking about one racist judge. This is a 12-person jury. Say 11 of them are racist,
and you get to pick the jurors. You know, there's a whole process of picking the jurors. So it's like if you think there's racist people in your jury, you get to weed that shit out. Isn't it? I can't remember exactly how it works. Doesn't you get? There's 12 jurors. You get 6 blocks. I think each side gets 6 blocks. I think that's how it is. Like 100 people come in, they all sit down. The judge will like instantly weed out a bunch based on a list of questions.
Yeah.
And then you each get 6. It's like you get 6 lock-ins and 6 blocks or something like that. And then
something like that.
So it's like if you're calling it well, then that's the prosecution's fault. Well, the prosecution's fucking racist. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it depends just on the lawyer. If a black kid's in the same situation and gets a guilty verdict, I'm going to blame his lawyer. And you know what I mean? I think it's up to the lawyer to present the case and convince that jury.
Yeah.
It's so not even an interesting case. Like there's been so many books and documentaries about good cases.
I know. What we're talking about, right? Like the jury, the prosecution, the defense. Like way more interesting to talk about OJ because it's like how the fuck, like I want to go sit in that jury panel throughout the whole thing because how the fuck did they come up with that conclusion to that case? Like that's insane. That's interesting. That's something to actually talk about. Like how the fuck did this dude get away with murder? This is insane.
Yeah. I don't know, the media loves cases, whether it's like I named OJ, Michael Jackson, Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was such a big case. And so the media, you have a case like this, a trial, I should say. The media loves trials. You can just so much speculation and discussion and playing clips over and over again. The news fucking loves trials. Like, they love elections and trials. It's like their top thing. And it's like this is just all we had to talk about for the last week. They couldn't find a better thing to push.
Yeah.
Are there better things to push out there? Yeah, definitely, but not like a good trial.
Yeah,
Especially
like
with
they
AR-15,
had.
You gotta say semi-automatic a million times. You gotta say AR-15 a million times.
Yeah, assault rifle, the assault rifle 15, or you're gonna hear a million fucking the same talking points we're on. Every 6 months, we just go through a fucking cycle. It's like just a spinning wheel. Every 2 weeks, they just like, abortion, AR, fucking. Oh, here we are. Now we're talking about the pipeline. You know what I mean? Just something else we're talking about. Yeah. It is ridiculous that in this day, like what is happening right now, that's what we're talking about. Coming up on Christmas, this whole supply chain thing. I mean, isn't that bigger news? You know what I mean? Like, why did that just fade out? Fucking the 1.7 trillion plan. Why isn't that like the big thing we're arguing over?
Yeah. More COVID shit.
I did hear yesterday, and I don't know much about it, but they said that they postponed the vaccination mandate.
Yeah, and then like the Federal Court of Appeals like overturned it completely or some shit.
Yeah. So, it looks like
it's probably not even gonna happen.
Why it probably isn't, but why isn't that the top news story?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Isn't that bigger than Kyle Rittenhouse? This is insane.
Yeah. I'm sure he regrets going out that night.
Probably not now, but when he was sitting there thinking he was about to go sit in prison for a long time, I guarantee he was regretting, like, why did I do this? But I also believe dude, imagine if I was the person, if I was that person sitting in his shoes, dude, what I would say to the public is like, you realize how popular you're making me, right? Like, my fucking Instagram handle now is going to have so many fucking followers. You know what I mean? Like, you literally... all you people that hate me so much, you're setting me up for the rest of my life. I'm going to be able to just cash in on all this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they even brought up his TikTok handle in the news. I don't know if you heard that. Did you hear that one? It was a clip
it's
they
like
were playing.
4 whores.
4 doors more whores.
Stupid. He's not an interesting person.
He did a interesting thing,
child.
kind of, and then that's it. Yeah.
I guess. I think he did a stupid thing.
Well, it's stupid. Those aren't, that they can be the same thing. You can do something stupid that's also interesting.
Oh, yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's just...
Mutually exclusive. I was fucking having a brain fart trying to think of that.
It's just so boring.
It
Petito was more
is
interesting.
so boring. Fucking... Yeah. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just the same bullshit. Everyone just needs to turn the fucking news off. Turn the news off, turn Facebook off. Facebook and the news are just so fucking evil.
Yeah.
All they do, the whole purpose of that is to get you angry. Back in the day, it didn't used to be that way. News wasn't that way. It was just the news. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
These are the biggest stories. Now it's how can we make people mad? That's all it is. And Facebook is the king of it. It's turn off the news, turn off Facebook. I'm the last few days I've been like, I got to stop the face. I got to get back out of here. This is why I left. I got to leave again. It's not a safe space.
Stay.
It's not a safe space. It's a bullshit space full of arguments.
Yeah. Yeah, and if someone was like, dude, you want to go to the protest tonight? I'd be like, no. I'm going to go home and watch movies and go to bed. I'm not going out and protesting anything. If you want to, here's what you should
insert anything into the beginning of that sentence, and the ending of that would be, no, I'm going to stay at home and watch movies. So that's a ridiculous thing to put yourself in that one, because you could be like, hey, you want to go win $10,000 tonight? You'd be like, no, I'm going to just stay at home. No. You want to go pick up hot girls? No, I'm just going to stay at home. No.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to a protest. For one, how about this? Donate money to a cause, or like become a lawyer and legally fight the cause, or fight the shit. Going out and screaming and yelling in the streets with an AR and running around like a fucking psychopath. I'm not down. And this jury acquitted him. So if you want to protest the jury decision or whatever, that's not going to do anything. It's
already done.
It's like a ref in an NFL game throws a flag or calls a penalty, and then the player's like, "What? No, I didn't fucking," and screaming at the ref. It's like the ref's not going to say, "You know what? You're right. You didn't grab him." Like, that doesn't happen. What's the point?
Silly me! I just accidentally threw that flag out.
Yeah, you're not going to get the call overturned, so it's the same thing. It's like you're protesting a jury's decision. The jury's not going to go, oh.
Yeah, has that ever happened in baseball? Because aren't they the most notorious for it? Has it ever happened that the umpire changes his mind? Because isn't it baseball or is it basketball? What do you think sport is the most notorious for screaming at a ref? Is it basketball? It must be basketball.
I mean, basketball, it probably happens more frequently. Baseball, it seems like it always happens with the coach. I don't know. Even tennis screamed at the ref. Everyone screams at the refs.
And has it ever changed in the history of sports? Has the ref ever changed his mind?
The thing is, here's the problem. When you're screaming at a ref because of a call, he's never going to change his mind on the call. But what you're trying to get him to do is
pay more attention
for the next thing.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is that it works. So in tennis or something, when you're screaming at the judge or for something, or
focus
football,
on this, focus on this, focus on this, focus on this, essentially is what they're screaming.
Yeah, or if you can convince the ref somehow that he made a bad call or he fucked up or whatever, then on the next play
he'll let it slide.
You might get a little more leeway. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you might actually whether you're doing it, whether he's consciously or subconsciously or whatever doing it.
I've never thought about that. Never thought about that.
Yeah. With a jury though, it's like in the George Floyd Derek Chauvin thing. When we were sitting there waiting for the jury to make it, it might have been a jury, whether it was a jury or a judge or whatever. It was probably a jury. I was thinking I don't know what they're going to come back with. Are they going to come back with, Derek Chauvin didn't do anything bad, or he did? I don't know, because I'm not in the courtroom. Everybody in the country, if you would have asked, was this a murder, is going to say, yes, it was a murder. But can you convict, like, legally? And that was a whole health thing. Like, did he affect the internal health of this guy in that situation? Like, that's some scientific, medical shit that needs to be discussed. They could have came back and said, no, the guy just died, and, you sitting on his neck didn't have any effect on it. They could have. I don't know all the medical details.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like this, we don't know all the little tiny bylaws and fucking Wisconsin laws and all this shit. So it's like, as long as they convict within the law, isn't that what everybody just wants? And then you could just argue the laws are racist, whatever, this and that. But it's like, okay, then you got to change that. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
Go try to change the law then or something. I don't know. I'll roll with what the jury fucking goes with.
Yeah. Yeah, end of the day, it's not that interesting. Really, it should sum up
No,
everything. It's not that good. Can we shift into that? It kind of brings me into...
Please.
And I kind of wanted to do like more of like a Randy Weaver type situation with this and really deep dive it, but I didn't. So we'll just talk about the gist of this case. It blew my mind, and I can't believe I'd never heard about this. I can't believe no one's ever heard about this because it's like a 10-year-old deal. Again, I don't know any of the details. I just know the fucking what happened. I don't know the dates exactly, but I know it's at least 10 years old. So I'm on my buddy's on TikTok, and he's like watching this dude, like a podcast. He's watching like a clip of a podcast, and the podcast is talking about this fucking case, and it's like 10 TikToks long. You know what I mean? You just keep part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And we're at lunch, and I just keep hearing this. I'm like, where's this going? And what it was this whole interview, or not an interrogation of this kid. Kind of reminded me of like To Make a Murderer, where to catch what's that show called, the Netflix one,
To Catch a Predator?
No, To Make a Murderer.
Making a Murderer,
or whatever. Do you remember the interrogation scene from that when they're interrogating the like kid that likes wrestling, the like simpleton kid, and it's like a really weird interview to watch, and he's just like, I don't know, you know what I mean? They're like, were you here? I like wrestling. You know, and it was like, Jesus Christ, it was the weirdest little interrogation. This reminded me of that, like almost verbatim. Like kind of this dopey, dumb kid answering these questions. And he's kind of being like, it's obviously a murder had taken place. And this cop's like asking him these questions. He's like, hey, where were you? Blah, blah, blah. And the kid, I don't know. And it's like irritating to listen to this interrogation. And it's like minutes and minutes and minutes long of all these different sections of the interrogation. I keep on looking over at the dude's phone. I'm like getting irritated. I'm like, dude, I would smack the living shit out of this kid. I said it to my buddy. I was like, dude, if I was that cop, I'd reach over and fucking punch that kid in the face. Like, answer the fucking questions. You know what I mean? Like, stop being a smartass. You know, because that's how he's beat. He's like, they're like, what was the last year of schooling that you completed? And he's like, I don't know. And it's like, dude, answer the fucking question. You know what I mean? Like, stop being a punk. Like, this is so stupid. And so it's this whole interrogation. And finally, I just had to look it up. I'm like, I look at the bottom and I see hashtag. It's called Ryan Waller. It was this case. And then I'm reading the Wikipedia of it. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. It's like, that doesn't even seem real. And so what I'm watching, and the reason they were just really pushing this goddamn interrogation home is because this is where it's actually the most interesting part of the whole fucking case. What you're watching, you don't realize what you're watching. You think I'm like siding with the cop here. Like, fuck this kid. This kid, just answer your questions. Yeah, whatever. Why are you being a smartass as a cop? So what had happened is this Ryan Waller kid, and it had to have been like 10 years ago because the kid just died recently, I think. This kid was like, please look it up. Other people, you like search this kid out. It's fucking crazy. So it's like a drug deal situation. I don't know. It's this kid and his girlfriend are like in this house, and these two other guys come in the house, and I think it's like a drug deal situation. And these other two guys, like, they show pictures of them, and they look weird as fuck. Like they're weird fucking dudes. They're like leaving this house, or I don't know and the slider's closed or something like that, and they go to open it, and the kid stands up from the couch and like walks across the house, like I don't know, yelling at him or something like that, like I don't know, some kind of altercation. The dude turns around that's trying to open the door, shoots the kid twice in the face, and then the kid hits the ground, and then walks over and then shoots the girlfriend on the couch, kills her, and then they leave. Kid that gets shot twice in the fucking face wakes up 2 hours later and just wakes up and has no idea what the fuck is going on and just wanders around his house for 2 days. Like, alive. Shot in the face twice. And the whole time he thinks his girlfriend's sleeping on the couch. She's dead. And he's like just going about his day, but he's brain dead. He doesn't know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So he's just walking around his house. You know what I mean? And then, so 2 days later, somehow someone finds the dead girl and then calls the cops. They take the kid in to interrogate him. He has no idea what's going on. He's fucking shot. And like, I want to dig more into this because like, how do you not know someone was shot twice in the fucking face? But they don't. Mm-hmm. So they interrogate him for 6 hours and don't give him medical attention because they don't know that he's been shot. And so he's the whole time you're watching this interrogation. Yeah. When he's like, what was the last year of school? He's like, I don't know. Cause he doesn't fucking know. He's brain dead. And you like want to smack you like, why you, cause it's coming off as like arrogant. You know what I mean? Like that's how it seems like when you're listening to this kid. And then so what ended up happening is 10 years later, the kid died of a fucking brain aneurysm or whatever. And all the doctors now are saying that it's directly related to the lack of medical, whatever. Like, so they're blaming the cops. They're like, you interrogated this kid for 6 hours before realizing that he needed to be in a fucking hospital. And they're like blaming these cops. I don't know. And so there's this whole argument about that's what the TikTok was all about. But I was just like, what the fuck, dude? I don't know. That's an interesting fucking case right there. Like, that's fucking interesting. Yeah. You got a goddamn zombie. You got like Weekend at Bernie's or whatever fucking situation going on.
That is creepy. They find out who shot him?
Yeah, they found the two guys. They know the whole story now. But during when the police first show up, they just see a dead girl on the couch and this kid. And so you're going into interrogation, you know what I mean? And especially because you're not answering any questions. Because he's fucking brain dead. He just can't answer any questions. He doesn't know what year it is.
That's terrifying.
He doesn't know what his name. You know what I mean? Fucking.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That's
Ryan
terrifying.
Waller. I don't know how I'd never heard about that. I think that, like, why didn't we hear about that? That's an interesting goddamn case. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know. That's, just something to think about.
Speaking of medical attention, the real reason we skipped last week, because Brad was in the ER.
Oh.
Very scary going to the ER.
Have you been to the ER before?
I have been to the ER before. This isn't that interesting of a case. Kyle Rittenhouse is probably more interesting. But it was like 2014. I got home from work one day and my like lower right side it came on slow of pain, and then it got so bad. And I think when you're telling people about pain that you're in, everybody thinks that it's not as, you can't really, describe well to people how bad it is. Everyone just kind of thinks you're just kind of uncomfortable, not really like you're in severe pain, but maybe it's just a guy thing. But the pain was so bad. This was like in 2014, and I didn't know what to do. And you try to do things, on your own and try to Google things, but like lower right side, the pain was so fucking bad. It was like being stabbed with a knife bad, that I just decided to drive to urgent care in Ponderay in Idaho. Go into urgent care, talk to them a little bit. They say they're like, we can't do. You should go to the ER. Your appendix may have burst, or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, do you want us to call you an ambulance? And I'm like, no, I don't. I will drive myself. And drove myself to the ER, which I almost like passed out from the pain. And that's and people are like, whatever, whatever. But it was like almost passed out from like sitting in traffic, like, oh my God, this hurts so fucking bad. When I got to the ER, they like did x-rays or whatever, couldn't see anything, gave me pain stuff, let me go at like midnight, and it never came back. So not really sure what that was. So then, like last weekend, for like 4 or 5 days, lower right side had been just slowly growing like a dull pain. Not like a shooting pain, not with like spikes and drops, just a dull pain. But it was kind of getting worse and worse, and it was just kind of really uncomfortable, and just that like I couldn't get it to go away for like 4 or 5 days. And it's not like gas or constipation or whatever, which is like what people always say that it is when you're talking to people, which is honestly kind of like condescending. Like, this is like 5 days. Like, I know what it could be and what it couldn't be, okay? It's not fucking gas. But like, it was making it very hard to sleep. So for like 4 or 5 days, Brad was getting like 3 hours of sleep a night because I just couldn't get it to go away, and it's so hard to sleep with pain. And Googling things, and it's like, oh, if it's appendicitis, you're going to have a fever, you're going to have lack of appetite. I didn't have any of those things. My appetite was just off the wall, could eat constantly, and no fever at all. It's just the pain, and it was like, what the fuck? And after like 4 or 5 days, it had gotten worse and worse, and I'm like, all right, now I don't know what to do. And I didn't want to like schedule a doctor's appointment for like a week later. So I'm like, and it's so hard to make that call of like going to the ER. I think I don't know if I want to say easier. Well, it's probably easier for like parents to make that call with their kid, like, we're going. Because parents do that all the time, I guess. Like, we're going to the ER. Like, if something's going on with the kid. But like for yourself, it's like really hard because it's like, you're going to have to be spending money, and it's just, you might just get a whole runaround of bullshit of them being like, we don't know what it is. But then I'm like, fuck it, I'm going. So go to the ER, tell them what's going on, do all this fucking stupid, and it's, it's just going to be stupid paperwork, it's going to be stupid stuff. And when you go to the ER and you tell them it's lower right side pain, they actually start kind of hustling with you because they think it could be an appendix situation. I told them it wasn't an appendix situation after my own diagnosis of myself. However, they don't trust you, which is completely reasonable. They don't know. I told them, like, there's no fever and there's no lack of appetite. But they're kind of like hustling. And they're like, put me in a wheelchair, and they're like wheeling me around the hallways of the hospital. And it's like, so then with their hustling, then it's kind of making you nervous and stuff. They're like, we're doing a CAT scan and we're taking blood. And I'm like, fuck, a CAT scan? Like, this is going to cost me so much money.
Well,
like,
as soon as you go to the ER, yeah. I mean,
it's money.
Yeah, fuck the ER. It's so much money.
And it's like before I had to make the decision to go in, I know it's not my appendix, but then I start thinking that it's like an ulcer, like a bleeding ulcer or something, and I'm like, this is so dumb. And it's like, my dad died from a ruptured stomach ulcer, and I'm just kind of thinking about that, and I'm like, what if it's an ulcer, this and that, and although ulcers are attached to, well, stress and drinking, and drinking's not for me, but stress.
You cut out there, sorry. I didn't catch any of that.
Did I? Sorry. Like, an ulcer is like caused by like stress or caused by drinking.
Yeah, still didn't get it.
What?
I'm just kidding you.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Making me paranoid.
I can't hear what you're saying. I fucking.
Okay. But I'm like, well, if it's like, I gotta go, so I just go in and I get a CAT scan done, and I'm like, how much is that gonna? Is that like a $2,000 fucking bullshit thing that just happened? It's just such a not fun process.
Well, once you're there, I mean, the fact that you've gone, I don't know what your deductible is, but you're just going to meet your deductible. So, fuck it. Once you get to a certain point at the ER, it's like the money doesn't even really matter.
Yeah.
You've hit your deductible, so fucking you might as well just go all out. You might as well be like, fucking
Yeah.
bring it all in, because I know I'm paying my deductible, so fuck it.
And it was I can tell you what I was charged, and it's not as high as you think. But CAT scan, not a fun process. Taking blood, I mean, I'll do anything to get a needle in my arm, and I told them that's why I was there in the first place. I'm just joking, but taking blood or whatever, I'm fine. You can take as much blood as you want. I don't care about getting stuck with a needle, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and then I start thinking, I'm like, and I had to wait like an hour and a half for these results. So I'm just sitting there playing games on my phone. And I'm like, they're going to come back and just tell me, like, you have 30 days to live.
You're
like, your
gonna
body is
die.
full of tumors.
Yes.
Yeah. Your body is full of tumors. And that's what I'm thinking they're going to come back and tell me or whatever. I'm like, fuck. But
the weight gain's not from food. That's tumor weight. You were carrying tumor weight.
yeah. It's like a basketball size.
How
tumor.
have you been?
Fuck.
How have you been living this long with all those tumors?
Yeah. I'm like, well, this could be it. But and then they finally come back and tell me that it's something called that it was just something called mesenteric adenitis. I guess just something in the lower intestines was like
mesenteritis.
Mesenteric adenitis. Something in the lower intestines was like inflamed, fighting off a virus, and it goes away with it after like a week or so, and so it's no cause for concern. So they gave me anti-inflammation stuff and like pain stuff in a shot in my arm, and that was it. But it was like, it's just shitty, and I don't know. It's when I was checking in, like the girl, there was a girl next to me checking in too for COVID, and she like couldn't breathe or something like that. But they like rushed me around before her because apparently, I guess if you just go in and say lower right side pain, they're like, and then afterwards, when they know what it is, they're like just super casual. Like, oh, you still here? You can leave. And they're like super casual about it. And just the people in the ER, the doctors and nurses, so fucking helpful and nice and sweet people. It's like, it is, you don't get that kind of service anywhere else. They are so nice and understanding and caring. And then I started asking the doctor other questions about other stuff too. Like, well, I got you here. And I'm like, everyone was just so nice and made me feel so much better, just the peace of mind afterwards. But just a shitty, and it hurts. It's just I feel a lot better now. But being in pain just sucks ass. Just anything health related.
So to go back to what you were saying at the beginning of that about how you can never explain pain and have people believe you, and I am that way. Unless someone's like hand is falling off, then I'm like, okay, you're in pain. But if it's internal, if they're like, oh, it fucking hurts, I'm like, ah, yeah, bitch. You know what I mean? Like fucking. Yeah. So one time, years ago, probably 5 years ago, I had a roommate, and I'm playing video games, like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and he comes in my room, and he's like, bro, it hurts so bad, and I'm like, dude, just take some fucking Tylenol. He's like, and then he goes away in like 10 minutes. He's like, dude, you might have to drive me to the hospital, and I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, fucking Jesus Christ. Like, stop being a bitch about it. And that's what I was thinking. Like, was irritated. Was like, God damn it. Fuck. Okay, fine. Let's go to the fucking ER. You know what I mean? Fucking idiot. They're going to tell you that you fucking got a cut on your dick or something. You know what I mean? Like, I know this isn't a big deal. And fucking drive his ass to the hospital, and then we're there, and he's like, I'm just in a bunch of pain, like blah blah blah. And then they're like, oh yeah, you're passing a kidney stone right now. And then I was like, oh, now I kind of feel like an asshole for being such a condescending dick about your pain, because like you probably are in a lot of pain right now. So I know what it is. I didn't believe him. I was like, it's not that bad. You're over exaggerating how fucking how much pain you're in. And then once they said kidney stone, I was like, oh, now I feel like an asshole, because if I was passing,
it's probably just a guy thing, because I think with little kids like you, you take their word for it, kind of, and you start thinking, okay, they are like, you believe they're in pain or something like that. Like,
I don't.
something's wrong.
When Aurora says she's in a bunch of pain, I'm like, yeah, I feel the same way. I'm like, okay, come on. I'm always one to, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Or like if someone calls into work, I'm like,
Well, no, but even with
Dude.
kids, like, I don't know, yeah. She fell once and fucking landed on her back. And I'm like, it's all right. Like, you're standing, everything's fine. Like, calm down. She's, freaking out like kids do. And I did with everything. I'm like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then she lifts her shirt up and it was bad. And I'm just like, oh shit. Like, I guess I was wrong there. Like, that's pretty bad. Like, that thing fucked you up.
yeah.
She had like a 6-inch fucking scar down her back, blood all over the place. I'm like, oh, you did hurt yourself. Like, I thought this was just a fucking, scrape. Because, a kid will scrape their knee and it's like a little nick. And they're like,
Yeah.
ah! And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
bro. Like, it's not that bad.
Well, I think what I mean is, like, you're probably quicker to make that call with them than with yourself. At least with me, I'm so much quicker to just live with the pain than to go to a fucking hospital. It takes a lot. It takes like 4 different people to tell me, like, go in. Then I'll be like, fine, I'll go in. It's a tough. So my bill was $413, which I was like,
Wait, 413?
yeah, like, not that bad.
Huh.
I was hoping. I'm like, God, I hope this isn't like $2,500 or something like that.
Do you know what your deductible is? Is yours at 3,000?
I don't know.
So yeah, that's really cheap. But
on a Saturday, I think on a Saturday,
you didn't spend the night, right?
No, 3 hours, and a CAT scan.
Huh.
I think on a Saturday you're gonna get your higher thing. Well, obviously ER Saturday might play into effect with that, but I was just glad it wasn't like 4 figures.
Yeah, when I went in for my finger, I mean, they didn't really do much, but I was there for 3 days. And yeah, that hit my deductible. And
You stayed the night there for 3 days?
Yeah, I've told this story. I had a
Yeah.
I had a blood blister, and then fucking it went, whatever you call that. It was the infection was getting into my bloodstream, which ends up being a really big fucking deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so fucking, and I was sick as fuck. It was one of the sickest. I was so goddamn sick. And fucking, yeah, I didn't want to leave the hospital. Dude, when you're sick as fuck and they have an IV hooked into you, dude, I wish I was rich enough to constantly have IVs. Dude, IVs are so money. Have you ever been?
You just want a needle.
Have you ever been like sick, like have a fever and have an IV hooked up? Dude,
No.
it is next level. It is next level. Like you wake up in the morning from a hangover and you like suck that Gatorade down, your head like feels bad and you're like just trying to get the liquids in. That process that takes you like 4 hours to like get rehydrated.
Yeah.
They can do that in a minute with an IV.
Yeah.
And you just instantly like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I love IVs.
Yeah.
But 3 days there, I hit my deductible of 3,000. And it's so bullshit. The way health insurance is set up is it just favors old people. Because no one out of our age, you're never going to hit your deductible every year. Maybe, you know what I mean? But so it's $3,000. Mine's $3,000. I know there's different numbers with whatever your health insurance is. I think some people have like a $1,500 deductible. But unless you have a family of 5 and they're all on the same deal, or you're 80, whereas then you're great. You're like, oh, I only have to pay $3,000 a year before my insurance just take care of everything. Like, but for a 20 to 30-year-old man living by himself, that $3,000 deductible is a real fucking fuck you. You know what I mean? Because you're only going to use. How the fuck are you going to go over 3,000 in a year? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was like they gave me an IV in my left arm, but it wasn't hooked to anything. It was just hanging there because did they just put it in like in case they needed to?
Yeah, that's day one shit.
Yeah. And then I was sitting there with that in my arm waiting for test results, I guess. And then they came in to take blood to do a blood test. And the nurse who came in was just like a low level nurse, like doing grunt work. And she took blood from my other arm and then like put the cotton over that, and then the doctor came back and he's like, did she take it from your other arm when you already had the IV in that one? I'm like, yeah. He's like, she shouldn't have done. I'm like, it's okay, I don't care, dude, it's all good. I got one in both arms now. And then they were like, have you been vaccinated? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, and which vaccine did you receive? I'm like, Moderna. And I'm like, you guys are not about to chalk up fucking stomach pain right now to any sort of vaccine side effect. Like,
well, no, that's what I was saying. I didn't want to say it, but I was like, well, I mean, it's obvious what's going on here. Like, you got the fucking Moderna fucking, side effects going on. But at least you don't got COVID, okay?
Yeah. Because they're like, and which vaccine did you receive? And I was like, we're not chalking this up to fucking COVID. This is something else, yo. But,
well, no, it wasn't COVID. It was the Fauci ouchie. You're getting the fucking aluminum side effects in your guts. Your body's fighting it off.
No, there's no side effects.
You got a tail growing in. You're like, it hurts so bad.
No.
You're like, fuck, we got another tail coming in, guys.
But I love doctors and nurses. I love them to death. I got no complaints. I'm not like an Erick Beavers, if you will. I fucking trust them and love them to death. I trust them wholeheartedly. They're so nice.
I will say it's whenever you go to a doctor's office or an urgent care, sometimes you get kind of a condescending vibe, or I hate when you go to an urgent care and you just sit there.
I know.
And and it's like a big sign, don't use your phone. Well, fuck you, man. Maybe get in this room 20 minutes earlier and I won't be sitting on my phone, you fucking asshole. Like, and then they come in and just the same fucking questions. Just like, dude, I'm not here for you to ask me the 20 basic fucking questions. Like, I'm fine. Like, this is the problem. And they're like, but I can't, the computer. Yeah, I fucking hate that shit. But as soon as you go into an ER, once you get back there, oh, God, it's great. You know what I mean? They treat you, I fucking love it. Feel like a king. They wheel you in a room and they're like, here's the lunch menu, later night, where, blah, blah, this is how this is going to work. You're like, fuck yeah.
They're great.
They are great.
I love them.
Yeah, so I guess now it's not fucking top of the news since we've taken 2 weeks off. But last week, the big thing was what's that guy's name? The guy they're prosecuting that rapper for people dying at a show. What's that dude's name?
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott, that guy.
Oh boy.
Well, no, it was just I don't know. I threw it on the list. I don't really give a shit about the Travis Scott thing, but just I think in the realm of that topic was you heard about the Rolling Stones one, right? So I was explaining that to someone, and they hadn't heard of that, and I was like, "Fuck, I learned that in history class," and I was like, "That."
What?
So in the Rolling Stones have hands down the most famous situation like this. The Rolling Stones had like the Travis Scott thing happen to them back in 1969 or something like that. So it was, here we go.
That Travis Scott thing was so tragic and sad.
So
I'm like,
okay, I'm gonna read this. This is cited from the History Channel. Fucking Alma, a new music festival in Northern California, was the brainchild of the Rolling Stones, who hoped to cap off their U.S. tour in late 1969 with a concert that would be the West Coast equivalent of Woodstock in both scale and spirit. Unlike Woodstock, however, which is a result of months of careful planning by the team of well-funded organizers, Alma was a largely improvised affair and did not. That's kind of weird because wasn't Woodstock improvised pretty heavily? But improvised affair that did not even have a definitive venue arranged just days before the event. It was only on Thursday, December 4th, 1969, that organizers settled on the Almont Speedway location for the free concert that was scheduled to have Santana, Jefferson Airplane, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, The Grateful Dead, all in support of the headlining Stones. The event would also include infamously several dozen members of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang acting as an informal security staff in exchange for $500 of beer as gratuity.
Yeah.
So you have heard about this, the Hell's
Yeah, yeah,
Angels
yeah.
deal, and then
Mhm.
so essentially what had happened is they hire the Hell's Angels as whatever, and some girl, I think it was a girl, they fight. She's like close to front stage with a fucking gun, and it was when they were playing "Under My Thumb." The Rolling Stones was playing on stage, "Under My Thumb," and I mean, I don't want to read the whole fucking thing, but I believe, no, the Grateful Dead backed out. They showed up to the show, and they just like, nope, ain't doing this. This is fucking crazy talk. What's going on here? And so they bounce. So if the Grateful Dead bounces, that's kind of weird. You know, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
But some girls like close to front stage with a gun or with a knife or a gun. No, a gun. And a Hell's Angels guy sees the girl with the gun and then stabs this girl to death. Fucking and just
Uh-huh.
all these fucking god damn it, there was numbers on there. I think 4 people died. Okay,
It's like a Kyle Rittenhouse kind of situation.
however, that a 21-year-old Hell's Angel named Alan Pescaro stabbed a gun-wielding 18-year-old named Meredith Hunter to death just 20 feet from the front stage where Mick Jagger was performing Under My Thumb.
Jesus.
Unaware of what had just occurred, the Rolling Stones completed their first set without further incident, bringing an end to the tumultuous day that also saw 3 accidental deaths and 4 live births. That was a crazy thing to read there, too. Like, who
Yeah.
the fuck 9 months pregnant? It's like, oh, the Rolling Stones is playing a free show. Let's go. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's fucking
Well,
insane.
that's the same with Woodstock. There's the same stat. Like, so many people died and so many people were born there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Fucking weird.
I just, when the whole Travis Scott was going, I was like, this is relevant, kind of, you know? Maybe we should dig into a little history of this has happened before.
Well, it's sad as fuck because if something happened in '69, you'd think you could prevent it in 21.
Yeah.
And like at first hearing about that, it's like what I was like whatever. But the more I heard about it, it was so sad and fucked up that shit happened. It was like the most tragic thing I've heard in a long time.
Yeah,
actually.
there was a kid on TikTok that I ran across, and he claimed that he was medical staff during the show, and he just goes through his timeline of what he experienced. And it was pretty gnarly. Like, hearing it from his account, it was like, oh, that is very sad. Because he tells a story, like, the way it's set up is there's, like, all these teams. And when you're a paramedic, you always have a team of 2 people. Like, at an event like this, you're always going to have 2 people. And so he's like, there's, like, 6, 7 teams, you know what I mean, of paramedic people at this show. And he said they get a call, and they go up to this lady, and they said it's fucking hard to even get to this lady. And they got an unresponsive person up front. So they like respond to that call. They get there and the person's like, yeah, they've been out for 10 minutes. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, are you serious? Like, this person's been unconscious for 10 minutes. And then so the guy's like, I got to go back and get some bag or what, I don't know, some medical thing. So he runs back. He said on his way out, there's another case he runs into. But he's like, the way paramedics work is you have to close your case. Like what they teach you is you have to respond to the first person you saw. You know what I mean? If there's 2 people, both need medical attention, you have to go back to the first person and finish that case out. You know what I mean? And he said goes there, so he's like, okay, I got to go back to this person after I finish this case. When he gets back, gets the medical bag, on his way back, he runs into another paramedic who's by himself, and he's like, why are you by yourself? And he's like, well, that guy's responding to this. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, this is, so he's like, by the end of it, all the paramedics are all separated, which is not how it should be, but they're like overwhelmed with fucking treating people. And like, then they can't even find the people that they're trying to treat, you know what I mean, to get back to these fucking people. And yeah, he just explained the whole like 45-minute deal. And I was like, oh my God, that would be fucking terrifying. You know, I don't know. That's just terrifying. And that is one of my biggest fears is, you know, burning to death. That's pretty bad. Any claustrophobia, but that kind of ties into claustrophobia shit. I've always, a huge crowd of people, fuck off. Once you lose like the ability to do anything, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you hit the ground, you're gonna die. Like,
yeah.
And no one's gonna.
It's so fucked up. And I've heard so many people comment about concerts and stuff where they're like, you know, it was so tight in there, I could lift my legs up and just like lift both my legs up and stuff like that, because people just pack in. And then I was seeing TikToks of examples of what they were calling like crowd surge from old concerts, of like an overshot view where like this wave comes through the crowd and then just kind of scrunches it all up towards the front, because the people at the front are like pinned, they're like pinned. The very front, you're like pinned up against some gate that's like not gonna move.
Yeah,
and like everybody is just pinned.
Most of the time, I've been in the front of a shitload of shows, and most of the time, it's 80% I'm pushing backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like giving myself space. It's like, by the end of it, like 6 songs, my arms will be tired from pushing people backwards. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I'll definitely get the waves. I've experienced that a shitload, to where you'll be pushing backwards and you can't even do anything. You just get fucking pinned up against the gate, and then you have to push yourself backwards again.
It's so stupid. And then, like, there's like an example of, the law to where like if you're in a club or a concert venue, how the doors have to open outward and not inward, because of some club where there was a fire and the doors opened inward and people were pushed up against the door trying to get out, but then everyone burned alive because the doors opened inward. So then the law was all the doors have to open outward. And it's like, and then you hear about trampolines like Black Friday or whatever, where people get trampled to death. And this was like none of that. It was just that like people had fallen down and then were like stood on and like piled on by people, and then just like died under there. And it sounds so scary, because they're probably like screaming for help. And these are like young fucking kids, like 10 years old or some shit, who wanted to go to this overrated rapper's concert. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? And you know how, and it's so loud and dark that like that adds to like the claustrophobia, the panic feeling and stuff like that. And like, because all you can hear is just bass, just and I can't even imagine being like, oh, I'm standing on top of somebody, like, and I can't move, or like just crazy shit. And then I saw on TikTok also some really actually cool examples of the lead singers from Linkin Park stopping their show and being like, pick that guy up. No, pick that guy up right there. And then Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters doing the same thing, like, stop. Like, pick those people up over there, and stopping their shows. And I was like, wow. Like, applause to them for doing that shit. But fuck that.
Yeah,
that
imagine.
Is fucked up.
I don't know. I've played this over in my head, like put myself in this situation, because imagine you were at a show and it was nuts. Like, you're getting pushed around and it's all fucking, and you actually ran into someone on the ground. Like, imagine you're getting pushed around and you step on someone and you're like, someone's down there.
Oh.
I really feel like I wouldn't go for them. I would be like, because I don't want to end up like that. I would try to convince everyone around me, like, hey, we need to stop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going down there by myself, because I'm not into, you know what I mean? I'm not going to bend over and try to pick someone up, or I'm going to be down there too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The only way I'm bending down to pick this person up right now is if 6 or 7 people around me do the same exact thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because that'd be terrifying.
And it sounds so tight that you need the guy to be like, stop the fucking show, if he can see you, if he can even see you. But at like a giant festival, and then you get all the people, and I saw arguments on Facebook being like, it was a satanic ritual and all
Jesus
this
Christ.
shit.
I saw that shit too. That was so stupid. Yeah. Oh my God. If you put a fucking eyeball on anything, and then anything ever goes wrong with it, it's the devil. This is a satan. They're trying to open the gates of hell. It's so weird.
Yeah. I'm not a big Travis Scott fan, but he
up until
he
this incident, I had no idea who Travis Scott was at all.
Well, he's married to Kylie Jenner.
Okay.
But he's a big time rapper. And it's just sad. It was very sad, and it sounds very scary. Like, as a parent, maybe like you hopefully send your kids to a concert thinking they're gonna come home. And it's not like for a while I just saw like so many kids died, and it's like, it's not a shooting, it's not a trampoline, like a stampede kind of. It's not like it's not like a drug thing. even though a bunch of people there were probably on drugs. It was just a weird situation where you can't even wrap your head around, like, a crowd surge to once you go down, you can't get up. Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay, so I have a question for you,
Okay.
and I apologize, and I'm almost thinking you've already heard this fucking question, but I apologize to people who don't care much about video game talk. So Kayla, I'm sorry, and everybody else doesn't care about video game talk. Eric, I know you at times in your life have loved playing video games online with other people in a competitive atmosphere, and
very much so.
So a question I saw on TikTok the question is, would you take a one-time $10,000 payout, and for the rest of your life, your kill-death ratio is 0.9? So don't answer it yet. So, like, if you don't know, like your kill-death ratio when you're playing video games is like, if you kill one person and die one time, your kill-death ratio would be 1. If you, like, kill 2 people and die once, your kill-death ratio is 2. If you, like, kill 6 people and die 12 times, your kill-death ratio would be 0.5. So a 0.9 kill-death ratio would be like you kill 9 people, you die 10 times.
Yeah, it's not very good.
For the rest of your life, playing video games, your kill-death ratio.
You're always going to get beat. You're never going to go positive.
Will forever be 0.9 for the rest of your life, but for a one-time $10,000 payout. Would you take the money?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Well, if I was better at it's getting to a point where, dude, people are just so good at video games, and I'm falling behind. So, yeah, of course I would. I'm competitive as shit, but video games aren't that important to me anymore. It's just a passing of time. I still get competitive, but I lose all the fucking time. So why not just lose a little bit more and get $10,000? And I need to I need to just quit playing video games. Recently, it's all I think about. It's like, why am I doing this? This is the most unproductive fucking thing I could possibly be doing right now.
It's true. I would probably take the money, and then
you already get a fucking 0.9 on everything you do. So
no, I don't. I do on the new Halo game because it's actually really hard.
It is extremely fucking hard, and it makes me very upset. It makes me very, very upset.
It's actually very hard, but in my history, I have been a good player with a good kill-death ratio. I would probably take the $10,000 and then later regret it when I'm trying to enjoy myself playing a game, and I'd be like, why did I take the $10,000? Because then you're just stuck at 0.9, and you can't find that joy anymore. It's gone.
Yeah, I would take the 10 grand. Easy peasy.
Because I think our buddy Fox said he wouldn't take that. He wants that KD. That sweet KD.
Really, it's like almost saying you'd pay $10,000 just to have a good KD, and I would never pay $10,000 to just have a good KD. I think
I'd take it. I'd take it and regret it.
I'd pay $10,000 to have such a good KD that you could quit your job and play video games full time. Then money could come into it. But as long as you're under that threshold, which you're always going to be under that threshold, because to be that good, you got to be godly good at video games. I mean, yeah. Fuck it. Video games aren't that important. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I've played with some real artards that suck real bad at video games, and they get on all the time, and they're happy as clams. And I don't understand it. I'm just like, I don't get how you're having fun right now when you're getting shit on 24/7, and they're still just like, hey, it's like, okay,
yeah,
I guess you can find joy in just getting your ass handed to you.
They're like 3 and 18,
and still having fun.
Yeah, it's more of a struggle question for me than it is for you, I think.
Yeah, I don't even understand how that's a struggle question. If someone put it this way, if someone paid you $10,000 and you could just never play video games again, would you take the $10,000? because
That's a tough question.
I would hands down take that. If you didn't, I think you're a real fucking idiot. It's really stupid. Because $10,000 is enough money to be a substantial amount of money. Like, I want $10,000. Like, $10,000 sounds fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, I'd do a lot for $10,000. So for $10,000 saying, I'm going to give you $10,000 to permanently better your life in all which way. Right? You're not only going to make this moment gains, you're also going to benefit yourself for the rest of your life by not wasting any more time playing video games. It's like it's a win-win-win-win. Like,
okay, what if it was $5,000?
Now, a question would be what would affect me more is if this played more into like music. Like, because music is my guilty pleasure that I know I'm never going to be famous at, but I really love it. So it's like, would you take $10,000 and fuck up every solo you're ever going to play for the rest of your life or not? Now that one, that one is more relevant to me. That one.
Would you take $5,000 if your KD was 0.9 forever? Or 2,000? Or 1,000?
It would be.
And could you make?
It'd be. I think it'd be right around. It'd have to be over 2,000, but it could be under 5,000.
Wow. And couldn't you make the argument like you're saying I'd take 10 grand to quit video games? How about you just quit video games and then make 10 grand with that time?
Yeah, and exactly. I
So
want
you could do it. You could do that question.
Yeah, I mean, if I quit video games and just started woodworking, which I would love to do, and just took all that time into like making birdhouses, you just take those birdhouses and sell them and make $10,000. So,
right,
with all that time, or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how it would work out with Madden. Would it be like for every 19 games I play, I win 9, lose 10? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, that would be the equivalent of that. Is you're gonna lose more games than you're gonna win.
Right. Yeah, I would if we're talking 10, I would take the money. If we're talking like 2, no, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
I gotta. I hate to like call out someone that we know personally, and I won't say their name. You probably don't know this person. But I've been watching this Facebook situation play out for the last week, and once it all resolved itself, it was one of the most biggest palm fucking just wow, bro. Wow. Are you fucking serious? And the fact that you posted this all on Facebook, Jesus H. Christ. So I know this
relationship stuff.
No, it's oh my God. It's not a normal thing to see on Facebook, and it was pretty bananas. So I know this guy. He's from Sandpoint. He's an older gentleman, and me and him have a lot of history together. He posted a post on Facebook it's a picture of his dog, and he said, on this day, my dog ran away, or whatever. I'm $500 reward to information leading to blah, 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 if I get my goddamn dog back. It's all that. And then just a flood of people, you know what I mean? Like, showing support for this post. You know what I mean? Like, he had probably, I think it was over 80 comments, on it. Like, my thoughts and prayers with you. I really hope you find your dog. A bunch of people sharing it, you know what I mean? Like, a bunch of people, like, showing pictures of their dogs. Like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I just love my dog so much. I'd be so heartbroken if I was you, a lot of thoughts and prayers type talk. You know what I mean? And he got a lot of attention for this post. And I felt horrible. Any dog situation is gonna hit me, hard. That sucks. That's sad.
Yeah.
Love dogs. So all this goes on for like 3 days. People keep commenting. Fucking nothing. So then it's been 3 or 4 days, and then I see the post keeps popping up because more people are commenting. So it's like every day I see the post again, same post. And I kind of like check it because I'm interested in the situation. Like, what's happened with this dude's dog? I don't ever comment anything. I don't like the post. I just am, vicariously living this situation out. And fucking. So then he writes a comment and he's like, well, okay, I'm just going to read the fucking comment. Oh, because it's so ridiculous. So it's, well, all of you wonderful, supportive people. He's home! Exclamation point. Someone must have taken him. They must have grown a conscience. He's been in the car at least a couple of days. He must not have been a good house guest. They must have brought him back in the night and put him in the car. Becky had some beach towels in the back when she took the dogs. He soaked those, but no poop. He sure had some business to do when he got out. He gave us a couple of minutes to visit and then headed for the woods. Who knows about the details? All is well now. We are all happy and grateful for all of your encouraging words of support. Thank you.
What the fuck?
So a little more context. This person lives in Sandpoint and he lives like out of town. Close to a highway, but he's out on property. So you're fucking telling me that someone drove down your little road in the middle of the fucking night in Idaho? No, they didn't. You know what I mean? Like, I know Idaho well enough. You don't drive up someone's fucking driveway at 2 in the goddamn morning. You know what I mean? Like, maybe downtown, like in that, maybe someone's like sneaking into your driveway. No one. That is like a rule. And you know what I mean? Like, people want that. In Idaho, they love a car creeping up your fucking driveway at 2 in the morning. That's like a wet dream in Idaho. Like, oh, finally, Kyle, this has Rittenhouse written all over it. I'm about to kill someone. I mean, what do you take out of that?
So you think he left the dog in the car
4 days. Because he's claiming.
Wouldn't the dog die?
I think a dog could live 4 days in a car. Not in the summertime, but right now.
No.
Yeah, perfect. It's like the perfect temperature for a dog to live in a car.
Without barking?
They're old. They're old people. So.
And then they don't use the car?
I mean, what? Come on. You're telling me that someone breaks in. Just. Dude, if you stole it, it's ridiculous. Come on. We all know what just happened there. You fucking dumb fuck. Locked your dog in the car and forgot about it is what happened. And
that's crazy.
Left him in there for 4 fucking days. And then to fucking post it on Facebook. Like, if I had done...
Yeah.
Like, even if that is the truth. Let's say that is what happened. Verbatim. Like, you nailed it. Someone snuck back into your property and put him in your fucking car. Let's say that actually did happen. When you're writing that Facebook comment out, aren't you going to be like, no one is going to believe this? You know what I mean? Like, this sounds crazy. Maybe I just shouldn't, but maybe I should just say, he came back in the middle of the night. Leave it there. And then fucking, then we're all like, oh my God, we're so happy for you. But like, I feel like that's something my daughter would say when I ask her, like, hey, why are all the color crayon marks all over your wall? And she, the dog walked by, the dog, he had a crayon in his leash and walked by and it just scraped the wall all the way down. It's like, do you hear yourself right now? Like, do you hear yourself? You're saying the dog walked by and put a giant crayon mark down the wall. No, I know what happened here. You marked it and then now you're creating some crazy conspiracy theory on what actually happened here.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. His assumption is absolutely insane. And wouldn't they want the 500? But, like, that's crazy to leave your dog in a car for 4 days.
You're senile.
All around.
You are a I wish you knew this person, and that's what makes it even better. Like, it's obviously a really sad situation, but it's like, I think at this point you shouldn't be allowed to have dogs. Like,
does this person have children?
They're grown. These.
Grown
this is an old person. This, I think, I want to say they're 70, probably.
Yeah.
Probably older than 70 now, because they were pretty old when I knew them 7 years ago. So
Yeah.
they're around 70, if not over 70. And I
He's losing it.
think once you do that, that's like once you crash your car and prove that you can't drive anymore, you shouldn't be allowed to have a license. And I think once you lock your dog in a car for 4 days, I think you lose your dog privileges. Like, maybe you just get cats from now on. You know what I mean? Like, we should tone this down.
That's fucking nutty, dude.
Yeah. And it would not to give to I used to have mad beef with this person. And it's funny to me for this whole situation, because to me, this is very relative to the same situation on why me and this person had a bunch of beef. This person claimed I stole a bunch of shit from him, and I was very upset because I was very happy with the situation that me and this person had worked out. And it was like, I was very happy. And then out of the blue, he's like, you stole all this shit from me. And I was like, why would I steal all this shit from you? Our relationship is way more beneficial that it keeps going on than me stealing a few $100s worth of shit from you. Like, I didn't steal anything from you. And he's like, through fucking cops got involved, whole fucking 9 yards. And then like 4 months later, he fucking messaged me on Facebook and he's like, oh, sorry, I found all that stuff. And I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you. And then our relationship was ruined. You know what I mean? Because I was madder than fuck. I hate, you know what I mean? Getting blamed for stealing something. You know what I mean? There was so much animosity I had built up towards this person. And then to read that, it's like, you fucking dumb fuck. You know what I mean? Stop losing shit, you fucking old bastard, and thinking everyone's out to get you when it's just your dumbass losing shit. You're losing dogs. You're losing fucking I don't know. I was mad. I was mad.
Mystery Man.
Do you give it any credibility that actually could have happened? There's no fucking way.
No, I don't. If I lose something, I don't immediately just go to somebody stole it, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Like, I don't think that could literally ever happen. Steal a dog, and then you're going to go back on their property in the middle of the night, go in their car, and just... Like, what kind of crazy fucking world are you living in right now?
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry to air people's laundry on here. I tried to not use their names, but I thought it was really interesting. I was like, this is crazy to watch. This is way more interesting than the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I mean, this is a story.
Jesus. So I saw something on TikTok.
We get a lot of TikTok talk. We should just base our show off TikTok. We should call the Eric and Brad TikTok show.
But it was something that I think I'd seen before, and I couldn't really... I think the first time I saw it, I had trouble wrapping my head around it, and this time I think I've got it. You're not going to like this, but I get what they're saying now. It's just a weird thing to sort of live with and think about for like a week. Someone just says that like letting your girl, you're letting your chick be with other girl. If you're okay with your girl being with other girls, but not okay with her being with other guys, then that's homophobic. And I think the first time I saw that, I was like, I don't understand. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, I see what they're saying. But it's such a really weird thing to think about. So if you're okay with your girl hooking up with other girls, but not okay with your girl hooking up with other guys, then that's then you're practicing homophobia. And I think that the thing that they're saying is just that, like, if she's with another guy, then you're with her, then that's too close for you to be with another guy. Somehow through like her. But if she's with a girl, isn't that like a homosexual experience? And you're okay with that?
It's definitely I mean, we all get this. I mean, I get it 100%. I get what they're saying. This is just the basic difference between men and women. that I mean, Joe Rogan has a whole bit about this. Essentially, really flirting with the same idea here. Is the difference is when a man thinks about two women hooking up. The reason they're all right with it is because in the back of their head they're like, maybe I will be part of this. You know what I mean? Like, because that's every man's dream. If you know what I mean, like Joe Rogan has that whole bit. He's like, if you walk into two dudes fucking in a room, it's essentially kind of the same thing. He's like, you fucking what the fuck? But if you like walk into two lesbians and they're like, shh, 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 he's like, it's like seeing a deer in the backyard. You're like, it's so every man that you just
don't make any sudden movements.
Yeah, don't. Calm down, everything. And then you would slowly start walking through. I'm like, hey, pretty bird. You know what I mean? Like, it's all right. Yeah. It's all right. And so I mean, if my girl wanted to hook up with another girl, that is exactly, I'd be like, yeah. Well, I actually have very firsthand experience with this. With one of my, like, when I was like 21, I'm ashamed of this. I'm ashamed of how I reacted to this situation. Kind of.
You've said this, I think.
Yeah, to where she hooked up with a bunch of fucking girls. And
you got mad.
And I got mad. I was like, well, you cheated on me. And then as I got older, I was like, that was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? That was legit as fuck. She diked out with like 6 other girls. I don't know. That's like every dude's dream. That's like every porno dream you could ever have. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but if her and then that's the problem is in that scenario saying that's homophobic. The problem is with men is if she's hooking up with another dude, you're not interjecting yourself in that situation anymore. You're not imagining
because you're homophobic.
I guess, but the possibilities aren't there anymore. You know what I mean? Like on one hand, you just have your imagination just starts going wild. You're like, you know, maybe she'll be diking out and I'll come home and they'll forget I'm coming home and then I'll just have to, you know, plow both of them down because that's how this is, you know, that's how, you know, and you just live with this fantasy in your head and you're just like, yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then, but you know, when she's like, hey, I'm going to go dick down this other dude, you're like, well, the fantasy's gone now. There is no more there's no, it's just cut and dry. She's just going to go dick down, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, fucking stop being so homophobic and go suck some dick. Jesus Christ.
Oh. And then the more I thought about that, I remember on a podcast I heard a long time ago a study about how, like, if a guy finds out his girl's hooking up with another girl, then I guess it was like, you know, oh, no. The study was if a girl finds out her husband cheated with a girl, that the statistics are much higher for them to then be able to repair their relationship and get past that. But if she found out her husband had hooked up with another guy, the percentage of them repairing their relationship is now basically like 0.1%. So now who's homophobic? Because women, like, if you're a chick and you find out your husband hooked up with a girl, you're like, we can work past this.
Yeah. Because once a man hooks up with another man, like, yeah, this is like you fuck 100 girls and suck one dick and you're known as a dick sucker.
Yeah,
but fucking like the numbers, the numbers don't matter when it comes to guys. Like,
yeah,
you.
So if a wife figured out her husband hooked up with a dude, the percentage of them getting past it and repairing that was like nothing. So it's like now who's homophobic?
I mean
I don't know,
that's like kind of a different. Not that that's a different argument, but that leads into like a different argument. Is like, why is it girls and like every like. A vast percentage of girls, like in their college days, hooked up with another girl. You know what I mean? And
all of them.
They're not gay. You know what I mean? That's not considered gay. Never. Not one. That's not gay. But then,
no.
Yeah, you like 19-year-old dude sucks one dick. He's gay. You know what I mean? Like that's just weird. Gay for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's
and
the difference.
Girls have a harder time with that than, you know, guys have with a girl getting with a girl.
Wait,
I don't know, it's weird.
I don't know.
And like girls would have a harder time like you said, a 19-year-old guy hooks up with a guy, like for women, like they have a harder time with that.
Than a man.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the girl.
Well,
thing.
and that ties into fantasy shit.
So they're the
kind
more
of, too,
homophobic
is
species.
guys want to watch two girls hook up. No girl wants to watch two guys hook up. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think they do.
And why that is, I don't know. You know, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't think. I think women are as horny as men, some kind of, but not at all. Men are way crazier fucking animals. Did you freeze up on me? You froze up on me, you son of a bitch.
It's okay.
Okay, and we're back. We just had some technical difficulties. That's Portland for you. Fucking Comcast cable. Those motherfuckers. Hate them.
Did you write it down?
I did. Got to make sure when I edit it, I don't forget about it. Put a big old fucking exclamation point there to remember that. Yeah, I think is that horse been kicked, or are we going?
Yeah.
Are we going back to that?
Spend your week thinking about
that. Speaking of TikTok, like we have been the whole time, I saw a video and it really ruined my. I gave up. It was like, people are horrible people now. We are desensitized pieces of absolute garbage. It was the worst video I've ever seen on TikTok, hands down, bar none.
Wow.
It was really sad. And I
domestic violence?
No, it was a fucking. It was like they're in a third world country. I don't know where they were. It might have been Mexico. I don't know, but it was like the houses were like the clay. You know, everything's, you know, dirt, just dirt roads, dusty, with like a clay fucking 2-story house with, like, you know, like the wood, like logs like sticking out of the, you know, above the windows and shit, and then everything else is like clay. I don't know, like a Mexican vibe, but maybe an Afghanistan vibe. I don't know. No one speaks. You don't see a car, and no one speaks in the whole video. But that all you're seeing is this 2-story house, and there's a dog on the roof barking, and the person's filming the dog, and the dog is like doing like dog shit, like going up to the edge, and then, you know, like a dog about to jump, and then the dog just jumps off this 2-story house, and fucking, dude, it's brutal, and fucking hits the ground, and yeah, obviously fucking fucks itself up, but it's like trying to get up, and it's like, you know, like making horrific noises. I don't know why you're smiling right now. It got me very upset, and
that's fucked up.
And as soon as the dog hits the ground, the person filming starts laughing. And I don't know, it might have been dubbed in, you know, like the laugh might have been dubbed into it. And it was obviously the post was a troll post. And then when you get into the comments, all the comments were troll comments. But the fact that you're even trolling on a subject like this really upset me. And it's like, dude, I get what you're doing. You're trying to get likes and views and shares because of like a dead baby type situation, you know what I mean? Like oh, I said dead baby, you know. But this to me was like too far. Like joking about this situation, like this is real. This dog fucking died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that we're watching this like murder porn is really
yeah.
I was very upset. I was very mad. I wanted to find all the people, all the trolls on that post, and beat the living fuck out of them. Like, fuck you, dude. Don't laugh at this. Isn't funny. This dog is in horrific pain. The person filming is not helping this dog. Is just filming it die. This is some fucking murder shit. Like, the person filming needs to get the living fuck kicked out of him and thrown in prison. Like, I didn't care if he didn't do anything right. He's a fucking horrible human being. Like, I don't want him on the planet. It made and why is it that things
that's fucked up?
If it was a person, I could have watched the video easier than with the dog. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why, and I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. We're more emotional with animals than we are with humans. And is it because we just assume like because I feel this way, I've given up on people. I do not think people are inherently good. I think they are inherently bad. I really do. I really don't. I think people are greedy. That's why we're always in these situations we're always in. All of history we've proved that we are horrifically shitty to other people. Always, in every circumstance up until now. And then now it's like, I think we're still all those same people. We just hide behind morals. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, we're morally above that. No, we're not. We're not. We would just as easily go murder everyone on our street as we would have 500 years ago.
I don't know.
I don't know, but then I don't know why. But obviously, there's something as in the masses. There's obviously something true there, because why is it? Would it be easier for you to watch a human fall off a 2-story building or a dog fall off a 2-story building?
The human. But I don't want to watch either.
Exhibit A. But I'm just saying, like, it's really easy for us to justify, like, hurting another human, or you know what I mean, or just standing by while they get fucked up and just, fuck them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fuck them. That's not me. It's not my mom. It's not my best friend. Don't give a shit about that guy.
Yeah. It was like 10 years ago or so, 10 or 7 years ago, people were watching beheading videos. I never watched one because I'm not fucking sick.
But then I sometimes it can affect me really hard. The other week I was watching this dude was going off, the conspiracy theory guy was going off about fucking 9/11 being all rigged and fake. And I'm like, dude, that shit, like, whatever you want to say about maybe we knew it was going to happen and we looked the other way, I might be able to get on that. But I'm like, are you trying to tell me right now that it didn't happen? And he's like, well, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, New York City. I was like, you know how many people are in you're saying they're just all lying? Like, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, yeah.
It happened. And he's like, well, I don't think the planes actually hit the building. It was just an explosion. I'm like, he's like, how many people are just looking up in the sky? I was like, yeah, probably not that many, but it's New York City. Multiple people would be randomly just looking in that direction. You know what I mean? Or randomly filming it. Like, that footage is real. Like, I got so upset with that. And then so we kind of went down a rabbit hole there. And I watched this YouTube video, and it was it plays like 4 messages left on a machine of like, hey, I'm about to die. You know what I mean? And like, I love you very much. And, you know,
I've heard them.
Oh my God. Like, I fucking started crying, right? Like, it just took me right back. And then it shows the picture of the dude jumping from the building. And I was like, oh, it got me so emotional. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I played that to that dude. And I'm like, dude, come on. Like, don't say that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one that'll hash a conspiracy theory out. But this one's like, dude, this was brutal. Like, and listening to those clips is like extremely brutal.
Yeah. It was like, I'm a big fan of the podcast, the last podcast on the left. I have a poster here. But and they covered a wide variety of serial killers and stuff like that. And then they did the 9/11 episode. And they joke about serial killers and serial killers' victims and all kinds of anything you can joke about, like the victims, no matter what they are. They had jokes in the Columbine episode. They got jokes everywhere. But then in the 9/11 episode, they're like, we're not going to be joking about anything in this. And they played those messages and stuff. And that was the one episode of theirs that I was like, holy shit, like watery eyes. I was like, fuck, that is,
dude, it's too real to listen to those messages. It's too fucking real. And because like you're listening to someone that knows they're going to die. It's just insane. It's like, dude, it is insane. And we're getting way off topic because now I'm just fixated on these fucking phone calls. When I was talking to my buddy about that, like, we listened to it, and I like kind of went out and smoked a cigarette, and so I'm like by myself, like right after we watched those videos, I get out of the truck and I go smoke a cigarette, and I'm in that mode now. Like, I'm, you know, on the edge of tears. Like, I'm very affected by what we just watched. And then what I was thinking about is like, it's not a good thing. I don't know how to word it properly. It's not a good thing, but really imagine if we had audio from like someone in Auschwitz or something like that. You know what I mean? If we had audio from that, that would be the most brutal fucking thing to live. And I wish we did. You know what I mean? So that, because we have all these pictures and shit like that, but there's something about like things like being in black and white. It separates you from the reality of that. And if we had like audio of multiple families like going into Auschwitz or something like that, or like right when the kid was separated from their mom, like, because that fucking happened a million times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would affect you totally different. People would, you know what I mean? That would. All I could think about was like World War II and how separated we are from that. You know what I mean? Like, that really wasn't that long ago. You know, that was fucking 65 years ago or something like that. Like, it's not that long. Fucking, I don't know.
Like 80.
Well,
Yeah.
1945. Okay, yes. Yeah, but 80 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And it was like right after 9/11. I think like Mark Wahlberg, like Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be on that flight, like the creator Family Guy, and then like Mark Wahlberg was too or some shit. And Mark Wahlberg came out and was like, "If I was on that flight, never would have hit the building." And everyone was like, "Hey, Mark Wahlberg, shut the fuck up, just for a little bit, all right? Like, just you don't need to say that."
See, now that's
crazy bastard.
That's where when I was talking to this guy and like the denial of it happening, I was like I want to tell you to just shut the fuck up right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up. Like, just shut the fuck up. But I will entertain the conspiracy of that shit. That shit doesn't make sense to me. And I've always thought from day one, the day that happened, I've been thinking about this 20 fucking years, is how do you allow one person to take over a plane with a fucking box knife? Like, how?
Sure, there's like 3 people.
But how? How do you, like, you know what I mean? That's where a little bit of conspiracy does kind of creep into me, is like, I mean, I get it, but fuck, dude, if someone takes over a plane, I would assume I'd be like, fuck this, bro. Like, I need to stand up and get 6 people on board with me real quick. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to fucking beat the living shit out of this dude. Yeah, one of us might get stabbed, but.
Well, yeah, but I also think you're thinking about it knowing what happened. I think that you.
Yeah, you would think like, okay, if we just go along with this, we're going to land the plane and we're going to be in a little bit of a hostage situation, but.
Right, they want money or whatever. You don't know what was going on, and that's just fucked up shit. That's just craziness. What's crazy about that is it kind of ties in a little bit to in the old radio show I'm listening to right now. I'm in like December 2012, and I literally don't even remember this day. I know I was in North Dakota. I don't even remember this day, but they just went through the day of the Sandy Hook shooting, which they're based out of New York City, which the Sandy Hook shooting was apparently like 60 miles away from them, so I think it affected them a lot more. But it was like listening to them talk about it, where like in an elementary school, like some guy went in and shot 20 like kindergartners and 8 adults in the school with handguns, and like they talked about it for like 3 days straight, and callers calling in and people speculating what was happening. And this was also like 3 months after the Aurora, Colorado Joker Batman shooting. And there's been plenty of people, which was just in the news this past week, which made it super weird for me to be hearing them talk about this Sandy Hook thing as it's happening. And the news this week that Alex Jones lost his lawsuit against the parents of Sandy Hook, who there's a lot of people who went through that conspiracy saying, oh, it's some false flag, whatever, anti-gun thing. The kids didn't really die. The parents are all paid actors. Like, we're probably going to get taken off YouTube now just for me saying that. But, like, Alex Jones doing his whole thing of being like, go to those parents' homes, knock on their doors, and, like, defaming them or whatever. And he just lost his lawsuit to the parents, which now, after I heard that show that they did of when Sandy Hook happened, I think I'm on the side now of him losing that lawsuit. As much as I like Alex Jones for like entertainment purposes and the fact that he's right sometimes, he was way overboard with that shit, because that was a crazy thing. And just those conspiracy people, like, do you ever think, what if you're actually wrong and it actually happened? Do you have any sort of sensitivity to the people that actually went through it? Like, even if it's a small chance that it actually happened, to be like, dude, like 20 kindergartners got shot. Like, that is something that you can't even wrap your head around that happened. And it's something I don't even remember that day. It's something I don't even think about, the Sandy Hook thing. Think about 9/11 way more. Obviously, it was a bigger deal, but like, that's what happens when you go too far on the conspiracy side. Now you lost a lawsuit because guess what? That shit actually happened. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and if yeah, and it gets
happened.
it gets really sad with a lot of conspiracy theories. It's like, dude, I get what you're saying, but if that had happened to you, you would be you would not be fucking you would be very 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 upset if my daughter's school had been broken into and she was killed. If you even I'd fucking kill Alec Jones. You know what I mean? I'd like,
if someone
knocked on my door and was like, your daughter didn't die, you might lose your life that day. You know what I mean? Like, I might shoot you in the fucking face. Like, how dare you come to my house? You know what I mean? Like, after.
And while I don't remember that day, I do remember like the months after, like my roommates playing YouTube videos while we were all sitting there drinking and smoking and watching TV, playing YouTube videos of being like, oh, you know, that parent is an actor that was in this other shooting thing, to the news reporter again, and being like, it's a whole conspiracy. And that's the Sandy Hook thing then led to the whole Obama wanting to go to 10-round magazines and stuff like that. It was like, that's what came after all of the Sandy Hook thing. But it's like, people just get hooked on stuff. And they were showing me YouTube videos of being like, that's the parent in that one too. And it's like, okay, I see that it's the same person, and it's like, I don't know. At the time, I don't know if it's actually a conspiracy. I don't know what, but it's just the same with the 9/11 thing.
It's the problem with conspiracies is if you just keep throwing shit at the wall, some shit might stick, but you're discrediting the things that did stick because you threw fucking 100 piles of shit. You know what I mean? And so now everything's just garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck the 9/11 one. Fuck the Sandy Hook one. It's just you need to stop. You know, go back to fucking the Nazis moved down to Antarctica or something like that. At least the fucking that one's way less people you're affecting with that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, or I guess just talk about the moon landing one because that kind of seems like victimless, I guess.
Yeah. I got one that I'm gonna get heated up about, so we won't do that one yet because I don't know. I feel like you need to go to a lighter topic. So we had the whole conversation, and before we started this episode, we kind of started talking about this, but I don't know how long ago, don't know what episode, but we were talking about movie soundtracks being bigger than the movie themselves, essentially. And this all came from The Graduate. Brad said he'd watched The Graduate or something like that, and he informed me that Hall Notes? Wait, who
No, for The Graduate, Simon and Garfunkel. Did the whole soundtrack.
And there's two songs off of it, The Sound of Silence and what else?
Oh, yeah, and Mrs.
Robinson both came off that, and that blew me away. Yeah. And then I don't remember exactly what we all talked about, but it was, that has to be the biggest song to ever come out of a soundtrack. So
yeah, I'd also brought up like I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith for Armageddon. I think we talked about the Titanic song, which clearly Titanic's a bigger movie. Oh, and then another one that might be the biggest one is that Gangster Paradise song by Coolio for that shitty
Dangerous
movie. I
Minds.
can't remember what it's called. Dangerous Minds, yeah.
So a buddy of mine that listens threw one at me. He's like, hey, you need to talk about City of Angels. And I honestly didn't. I was like, I remember the movie. And he's like, that has hands down the biggest soundtrack that way supersedes the movie. And I didn't even know about that, but then someone else chimed in and they're like, yeah, those songs became super fucking famous. So
Okay, you're saying those songs. I think I only know of one.
well, there's In the Arms of an Angel.
Oh, really?
So, and then there's Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Which, both those fucking songs, Jesus Christ. Like,
Yeah.
and I can't think of
love that
Iris.
song.
Right? What's the Iris? Sing it real quick. I can't think of it.
Oh God. Now I can't think of it.
Iris by. I listened
And
to
I
it.
don't want the
World to see me, but
Yeah.
I don't think that they'd. Everyone knows that song. Everybody knows that song.
Well, apparently, I found that song later in life, but apparently that song's like my generation, like you put on a mixtape in middle school to for your girlfriend or something like that. That's like that song,
Yeah.
from what I hear.
And then there's and I don't know, so I didn't dig too far into it, but he was saying that one, and I don't know if he was saying Angel or Iris by Goo Goo Dolls, and I don't know how many, but that soundtrack had Alanis Morissette's on that soundtrack. There's some bang. When I went through the sound list the soundtrack list, and it was pretty incredible. I didn't dig far enough to which ones are written, but he was like, I think Angel by Sarah McLachlan was written for that. And I think Iris.
I'm pretty sure Iris was written for that.
And then Iris, Goo Goo Dolls. So, but then it has U2, If God Will Send His Angels, Uninvited by Alanis Morissette, Red House, Jimi Hendrix. Obviously, that wasn't written for that.
No.
I Grieve, Peter Gabriel. And then Gabriel Yared wrote a bunch of songs on there. And Angel.
Well, actually, I watched a YouTube video about the guy. I think the guy from the Goo Goo Dolls who wrote that song Iris. For some reason, I watched a YouTube video about him writing that song, and that the director or whatever came to him to write a song for the movie. That song was written for that movie. I've never even seen that movie.
I've seen it, but it was a long time ago. But that is definitely 100% one of those.
Yeah.
That song is way bigger than the movie. Way bigger.
Way bigger. I'll agree with that. That's a really good one. As soon as you said City of Angels, I remembered Iris, but I didn't think of it before. Some of the one after we had that conversation, I made a list in my phone of just some songs that were made for movies. I don't think these are bigger than the movie. Obviously, I wrote down Aerosmith, Don't Want to Miss a Thing from Armageddon. I guess that one is a debate, which we talked about before.
I think it's bigger than the movie, but percentage-wise, Iris is
tough.
The percentage is way fucking higher.
Yeah. Somewhere Over the Rainbow in Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is bigger than that song, but that's a big song. And I think that song sold a lot of singles on record players and stuff. Like during World War II, fucking 100 years ago. Eye of the Tiger, Rocky. Rocky is probably bigger than that song.
Yeah, see, that one's a weird one because that movie's so big. Rocky's
I think they still play that song at football games and stuff, but Rocky is probably bigger than that song. If you hear the song, I'm going to say that they're dead even. The song's huge, but the movie's huge. Yeah. If you hear the song, the first thing you think of is the movie. So that might say something about the movie. I wrote down Mad World or whatever for Donnie Darko. I don't know if that song was made for that movie.
I don't think it was. I think it was just on the soundtrack.
Maybe the movie made the song popular. I remember a lot of people in MySpace having that song as their MySpace page.
Again, those are almost equal though. That movie's a cult followed movie, but so is the song.
So's the song, yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote down You Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story. Toy Story is probably bigger than that song.
Yeah.
Randy Newman.
Yeah.
I wrote down whatever. I'm pretty sure for The Lion King, I'm pretty sure Elton John did the whole soundtrack. Maybe you brought that up. I can't remember.
No, I brought up Tarzan. with Phil Collins.
Circle of Life, Elton John, but
Circle.
Lion King's.
Lion
if
King's
you
way
go
bigger.
But I think on like Elton John Greatest Hits or something, like it's gonna be on there, so that's a pretty big song. But that's
Well,
a
and
pretty
they
big
did. I
fucking
don't know
movie.
if we did talk about this, and I think we might have talked about this on another topic. Was the Lion King actually got in trouble for using the a wimba wap a wimba wap a wim because they sampled all this music from some African band and just stole the song essentially. It was a big deal. I was reading about it. It was like a big deal. And people were all upset, and they're like, and it tied back into like cultural appropriation type shit. Like, oh, you just steal our music, blow it up, and don't give us any credit for the music. And yeah, there's a whole story about the Lion King soundtrack.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
I can't remember which side. It's one of those songs where it was written by this African tribe group, and they didn't get any credit for it. And then some dude just stole the whole thing and took it to New York and was like, "This song's a banger, bro." And they're like, "Man, that is a good song."
Fucker. And then I wrote down, I think R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly from Space Jam was written for that movie.
I believe That's not an original song. That was, I'm pretty sure that's Earth, Wind, and Fire. And that was like a 70s song. And then he redid the song. I'm like 99% sure on that. Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's definitely Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I don't know about that.
What's the name of the song again?
No, written and performed by American singer R. Kelly from the soundtrack to Space Jam.
What's the song?
I Believe I Can Fly. Are you thinking of Fly Like an Eagle?
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Steve Miller Band.
Oh, that's Steve Miller Band, not Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I Believe I Can Fly was written for the movie.
Fly like an eagle. Is that that song's in that soundtrack, right?
I have no idea.
Fly like an eagle.
R. Kelly said, when I met Michael Jordan on a basketball court in Chicago, he came to me and asked me if I wanted to do a song for his upcoming movie. But that movie is probably bigger than that song. So I just wrote down ones I could think of.
Yeah, almost every one of those.
I don't think you're going to beat Miss Robinson.
They're almost equal. Well, I don't know. I think that, like, okay, I'm just imagining like a scale, like a teeter-totter. And you got how heavy the movie is versus how heavy the song is. And every one you just listed, it kind of keeps that teeter-totter dead center. Mrs. Robinson, that shit fucking leans pretty hardcore over to Mrs. Robinson just trumping that scale straight down. But City of Angels, Iris, that fucking...
It's a hard...
Boom! That fucking slams that thing down. And if Angel by Sarah McLachlan's on there too, if that was written for that, that's like a double whammy out of the park. I mean, that song's pretty goddamn big too. In the arms of an angel.
Well, Gangster's Paradise for Dangerous Minds slams that scale down too. Hard.
Yeah. Hard. Very hard. So there's... Add to that.
That's interesting. I'm glad he brought that up.
So this one I got real heated about this week. Is
this your last one?
This is my last one. Do you want me to let you have the floor for a minute? Was that? Or?
Well, yeah. I just have one more that's kind of short and dumb.
Okay. Go ahead and throw it in. Mine's long.
It's just this study I saw. It's not too interesting, but I saw it trending on Twitter, and it was just saying that more than 40% of Americans say they cheat on their partners with money. So...
Like they hide money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hide receipt or purchases. A new report from the National Endowment for Financial Education found that more than 40% of people who said they had ever combined finances with a romantic partner committed some form of financial infidelity, which is defined as hiding a purchase, bank account, or cash, was the most commonly reported form of financial infidelity. The survey found that 47% of men reported financial deception, comparing to 39% of women. And I think that at first I'm like 47% of men, 39% of women. I'm like, well, the number for women is probably too low. But then I think overall both numbers are too low. I think both of them are probably 100%. Like, wouldn't that maybe, and that's maybe a flaw with me projecting my own flaws onto the rest of the country. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to, and when I think about that, what I just said, it's kind of hard to come up with an honest assessment of the study. I mean, can you argue the numbers? I guess your only thing is if the people lied.
Well, I
feel like it's 100%.
Okay. My argument to I get what you're saying, and I would say yes, everyone's going to be financially deceitful, especially over time. Blah blah blah. Because where's the level we're talking about? Is it just like hiding some extra cash you get? Whatever. It could be a real small problem, and that's still considered financial infidelity. You know what I mean? Like we're talking a few $100s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're talking big scale, so it's how gnarly that is. But I think there's also, let's say 50% of couples have a better system for money. And so instead of, you're saying it's 100%, there's but also take into account there's probably, like how I try to approach money with and I think how you should do it. I don't know. But I think you just agree, instead of agreeing like let's pool all our money and then we need to, and then decide on what our purchases are going to be. I think probably a lot of people, and a smarter way to go about it is instead of agreeing on that, what you agree on is I pay this, you pay that, and then that's it. We're making an obligation on payments, not an obligation on money sharing. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm going to cover this bill, this bill, this bill, and I'm going to cover a percentage of this bill. And every month you need to cover a percentage of that bill and this bill and this bill and this bill. And then that's your money. You made the money. Do whatever you want with it. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'm going to do the same. I think it would become more, that's why I'm saying 50%, probably a lot of people, at least 20% of the population has to do what I just explained. You know what I mean? So there is no financial infidelity because it's like, it's your money. Yeah. You do whatever the fuck you want. Don't tell me what to spend money on. I won't tell you what to spend money on. You know what I mean? Like, as long as all these bills are getting paid, there'll be no problem. But then when you run into other situations, that's where I think the lying is going to become way more prevalent. Is if it's a man or a woman or whatever, if it's a man that's making 100% of the money with a stay-at-home partner, there's going to be some financial infidelity because he's going to, or if you're pooling the money 100% to where it just goes into a joint bank account, like, because then well, why is there $1,000 missing? And it's like, blah, 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 blah. But if you never pool that money, it's like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Well, and the study said that 40% of people who said they had combined finances. So this is only of people who have the combined finances.
Yes, exactly, which that number is just going to go, oh, well, I guess that goes against what I was saying, if that's what... Okay.
Yeah. It says, of those who engaged in some form of money cheating, an overwhelming majority, 85%, reported that the act affected the relationship in some way, and 16% said the situation led to the end of the relationship or a decision to separate the finances. It also says rates of financial infidelity did not vary based on income level, which that's understandable. Whether you're making $1 million or you're making $20,000, you're still hiding money from your partner. I just feel like it's like 100%. You see, and I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people have told me, like they sell me something like a fucking mini fridge or something, and I hand them cash, and they're like, "Yeah, this is nice because the wife doesn't know that I got this $60 now," or people, older people in their 60s, being like, "I'll tell you something, like I keep a stash of money like tucked away that she doesn't know about." it's like stuff like that. Because people, I don't know, people. It seems to me like it's like 100% of people.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
I hate to be this guy because I feel like I'm also this way with like. I was just having a conversation about like relationships, that was along the same line, and I hate to be like, well, I figured it out. You know what I mean? I'm better than all you fucking peons, but yeah, I mean, keep your fucking money separate. I mean, to me, if the wife doesn't work, that's impossible. You know, that's
Right.
that's a totally different scenario. But I find myself, I'll beat myself up more on things I think are irresponsible things. You know, like I did something, it was an irresponsible amount of money for me to spend, even though I could like tell her and there wouldn't be a fight and it wouldn't be like I'm lying. It's more like I do something, I'm like, that wasn't smart. And it's not, I feel like I've cheated on them. You know what I mean? Like why did I, you know, we're in this together, we're working as a family and shit, and I'm out here spending money on this dumb shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, the money was never hers, and we never agreed upon that. It's just, I'll beat myself up over it. You know, like, that wasn't smart. That was not a smart thing to go do. Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think if you ever, I mean...
But that's not cheating.
Where I
If
was...
you were to hide that from them.
No, exactly. No, that's what I'm saying, is I'm saying I'm not that way, 100%. And we...
Yeah.
Like, but we keep the finances separate, and as long as all the bills are paid, we're both happy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I don't care what you buy. Have fun on Amazon. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it affects the bill being paid, that's a different story. You know what I mean? Like, now we have a problem. Like, we agreed on something, you didn't fulfill that, but as soon as you meet your requirements, have all your money. But the only way that works really is we both make money and we keep money separate. You know what I mean? Like, we just agree upon that. But I don't know why this ties into my head, because I feel like I feel arrogant sometimes having conversations, because a few weeks ago I had a conversation with someone and it was about checking your significant other's phone or them checking your phone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I was like, I have never done that, and I was like, I can confidently say that Cheyenne has never checked my, like, there is zero worry, 100% zero worry. And I'm not saying it doesn't, like, I haven't been that way. It's just I don't know. Once you get in a relationship that's long term, and it's like you agree that this is it, this is what we're doing. Yeah. If you really still have that fear, there's a serious problem, serious fucking problem. Oh yeah. There's a serious fucking problem there. Like, you shouldn't ever be doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's really it's really condescending to say that. You know what I mean? Like, to say that to other people, you know, like, because you're just like saying, oh, you know, that's really mean, because it's saying like, oh, you don't have a good relationship then. You know what I mean? And that's not what I'm trying to say. It's just weird to me, because I have been that guy where I've been extremely jealous. You know what I mean? And like, but once I broke free from that, it's like, I am like, fucking, that is like rule number one, is not that you can't check my phone. It's that if you have to check my phone, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Like, I'm not playing that game. Like, and if I have to worry about you, I'm not playing that game either. Like, like, I don't give a fuck if you go have brunch with another dude. You know what I mean? I don't care. Like, because if I do have to care about that, why are we doing this? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Or if like, fuck, even if you want to go cheat or have sex with another dude, then just say it. You know what I mean? Like, why have all this drama? You know what I mean? Like, fucking.
Yeah.
I'm
not going through anyone's. I can't remember if I've ever literally gone through.
Oh, I have. Phone. I definitely have, and I'll never do it again. I won't be with someone that I have to do that, because it's horrible. It's the relationship was so fucked, and I was just so young, I didn't realize it. But I mean, I feel like you kind of have to go through that, like, you know, 19, 20 years old, and like, that bitch is fucking cheating on me. I know that bitch is fucking cheating on me. You know, blah blah blah. It's like, Why are you with this
Yeah.
girl if that's what you're saying to yourself? You know what I mean? Like, I want to go back to that time of my life and just smack myself. Be like, stop caring about this person. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like,
In all honesty, when I said that I can't remember if I have, I remember that I have done that. But also my phone's been gone through too. Fucking, it's just shitty. This was so long ago too. Now I would never. You could leave your phone around me and leave for a fucking day, and I would never go through it because I just don't want to know. I do not want to know.
like, and all this sounds so arrogant. And I know people listening like have wives and have families and shit like that, and it's like that. Or dude, me and Cheyenne have never been in an argument. You know what I mean? Like, ever.
Yeah.
Because what? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, isn't the whole point to be a team? You know what I mean? We're working for the same fucking goal. It's like people that, yeah, just I couldn't imagine being in that situation. And I mean, maybe shit will change as time goes on, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe it will.
maybe.
Um,
I just don't see the
and
point in
I-
being in a relationship if it's gonna have so much hiccups. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It's like, I do kind of feel like, say I was in a long-term thing, that I would be tucking a little bit of cash away.
or like,
But the thing is, see, I say, like, I'd be tucking a little bit, because I always like a backup plan or something, and I'd be tucking, like, a little bit of money away, so I have, like, that in case I need it for, like, a safety net for myself. But I would much rather prefer just being super honest and being like, you know, I need this money. I need nicotine money. I need gambling money. I need fucking OnlyFans money. Like, I need this sort of money. I need this money every month, and just being, like, out with it instead of being, like, hiding in the shadows, being like,
well, that's
hope she doesn't notice
That's
this.
just what I like. Again, like condescending towards people that do have problems like this is like,
Yeah.
when you get with someone and it's like a long-term deal, I feel like number one thing you should be doing is these are the make or break list. These are
Yeah.
my problems. These are what I deal with, and this is what you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if there's a problem on any of these lists, we're gonna deal with it right now.
Yeah,
And I
that's the
never
ideal.
want to hear about this ever again. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like if I fucking want to go gamble $100 a week, and you know that about me, and I did it when we
Right.
were dating, and then a year down the road, you're gonna be like, you know, I just don't really like your gambling. It's like, bitch, like,
Right.
shut
right.
the fuck up. Like, no,
Yeah.
like, oh, now it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because and the same thing each way is if something bothers you about the other person, nip it in the butt right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like, or like
Yeah.
set the ground rules up. Because if we're going to be dealing with this 2 years down the road, why are we even dealing with it now? You know, like, let's just stop. Like, fuck this. Like, because if that's how it's going to be, I mean, we're going to be unhappy. You know what I mean? Then we're going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
If I have to
Or
hide
if
money from you or have a separate account or stash this little, it's like if you're stashing money as like a safety net thing and you're not telling your partner,
Uh-huh.
I mean, isn't that you're just saying that you're planning on one day this is going to fail? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're planning for
Yeah.
failure, all the red flags are already staring you right in the face. Like, then it's going
Yeah.
to fail. You know what I mean? Like, you're setting it up to fail.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I guess if you like, like if you're dating and she's constantly going through your phone or being super interrogating, and then you get married, and then down the road, like, you know, then you're mad that she's paranoid and going through your phone, and I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I do like the idea more of the separate finances and just being open, as opposed to the combined and then fucking having to sneak around.
Yeah, fuck that.
Oof.
I mean, the only way that I would do that is if I willingly did it with not intention of trying to steal money from her, as is more of just like, I need help reining in my spending. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the only
Yeah.
way I would ever be about it. And you know,
Accountability.
yeah, just like I need to be accountable to someone else because it's gonna help me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
fucking, and if I
Yeah.
did cheat on that, it really, to me, like, if I ever did do that and then I cheated on it, I would be like, you don't even need to be mad about the money infidelity. I'm mad at myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm beating the shit out of myself for doing that. But I do that anyways without, I honestly, I mean, I guess the flip side of that is I feel sometimes as though I am cheating financially on, you know, her just because of a dumb purchase. And it's not like she would ever
Yeah.
be mad about it. It's like I'm just mad at myself. Even if they weren't in the
Yeah.
picture, I would still be mad at myself. I'd be like, why did you spend that money? You know what I mean? Like, why? That didn't get you anywhere in life. It just set you back. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't.
Yeah,
It was just a stupid thing to spend money on, you know?
I still feel like with the combined finances, that number is 100%.
Yeah.
Just from my own, you always hear married men being like, "I bought a new bow. She doesn't know about she doesn't know about it."
See,
you know?
that's so
I bought a
stupid. Or like the gun thing. Like,
It's everybody, though.
I gotta hide a gun. It's like,
Yeah,
that's really.
it's everybody though.
Yeah, that's weird.
I've heard it with crypto. Like I bought another 1,000 coins. Like she doesn't know though. It seems like it's everybody. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay,
what you got?
I got.
You saw something on TikTok?
No, this one wasn't on TikTok,
Okay.
but I was very upset. And I know I'm not a fucking doctor. So
Oh boy.
I have no. This seems wrong. So this kid I work with, fucking, we use a lot of blowers, like a leaf blower deals a lot. And, you know, they have the backpack one, and then the next step down is just a single handheld one, you know, and you're just blowing fucking leaves. Well, this leaf blower this kid's using, fucking, the bottom is all busted, the plastic's all busted out of it. So you can stick your finger in there and touch the fan. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and the kid did on accident. He like grabbed the bottom of it and spun it while it was like on full blast, and it caught his finger and fucking just boop, like you know, big old chunk of the tip of his finger just gone. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
And so, you know, finger's all fucked up. Next day, you know, it's, you know, taking care of the wound, and I, you know, I obviously told the fucking story about almost losing my fucking finger because of the blister. I'm like, you know, you got to be careful with infections, you know, blah, blah. And then, you know, everyone's telling him, you know, how, and it's a young kid that it happened to, and everyone like on the job site's like giving their fucking, you know, medical, how you should deal with this wound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, and I still stand by it, and I'm pretty upset, and I'm wondering how you're going to feel about this. But I was like, yeah, have it wrapped up. I was like, I would, because I gave him all my medical advice, what I would do. And I was like, I'd obviously clean it, keep it bandaged. And I was like, I'd go get one of those metal, you know, for like broken fingers. I was like, because it's going to help you. I was like, because when I broke my finger, I kept that metal thing on, even when I didn't need to, because it protected the finger from accidentally tapping things. You know what I mean? Like as you're walking, because you'll fucking notice that you actually, when you have a fucked up finger, you know, you can hide it as much, but when you get into the middle of things, you'll actually hit it more than you think you would, and you'll be like, fuck, that hurt. You know what I mean? Like, so keep the metal. Said that, and then I was like, dude, tonight, I was like, you know, if you're gonna spend an hour sitting on the couch, I would fucking, you know, let it breathe for fucking an hour and then bandage it back up, so it's not just fucking moist for 4 days straight.
Yeah.
And a kid chimed in, and he's like, this other kid, I like walk away, and I hear the kid chime in. He's like, do not listen to what he just told you. He's like, that's bullshit. He's like, you want to keep it as moist as possible for as long as possible. And then I come back, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, let it callus up a little bit, dry out, get a scab going a little bit, then, you know, bandage it back up. And he's like,
I'm so glad I don't work with these people.
so I got real mad. I was like, but it was like affecting my, it came down to my ego. I always think I'm right, and if anybody disagrees with me, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? And then, so I'm like instantly on my phone, like, I'll fucking prove this motherfucker wrong. You know what I mean? So I start reading everything online. Well, okay. the first 4 things you see on Google, if you type that in, is going to be like, yeah, do not air cuts out. That is not what you're supposed to do. Keep it moist as long as possible. There's been a bunch of studies, blah, 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 that if you're a lot with it being super moist and not allowing it to dry out, you're allowing more blood to get to the cut and more protective properties are actually getting there. Whereas if you dry it out, you're stopping things from getting to the cut that need to get there. And I was jaw to the floor reading this whole like article after article because I read like 3 or 4 of them, or like WebMD, what they're telling you to do and shit like that. And they all say, no, do not let a cut dry out. And I don't even give a fuck. I don't care. I was like, they're all wrong. Fuck you. Like, that's bullshit. And like a bunch of them were saying, yeah, it's an old wives' tale, letting a cut, but you should not do that. Like all of them, like bold letters, do not do that. And I was like, I don't care what these doctors are saying. Fuck you. Let it scab up. Like, let it scab up. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then about 5 down, I got one that agreed with me. But the majority of posts are like WebMD and all that were all exactly the opposite to me. And then when I was in the argument wasn't really in an argument. I let it go. I was just in my head pissed. But then everyone around me, when that kid said that, they all disagreed with me. They're all like, yeah, that's not how you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep it moist for as long as possible. And I was like, I don't even care what you guys are saying or what the internet's telling me. You're all wrong. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, come on. Let that shit air out. It's going to heal faster. Now, I will think, when I thought about it for a little bit, I'll say maybe for scarring issues, maybe it would be better to not let it scab up. But to me, that's not my worry. I don't give a shit about the scar. It's how fast can we get this to heal? And they're all even saying that. They're saying it'll heal faster if you leave it moist. I'm like, bullshit, it will. Let that shit scab up and dry out a little bit, and then you can now go work and get dirty, and you don't have to worry about the fucking infection because it's fucking covered. You know what I mean? Like, it's not this moist blood flowing in and out of it type fucking thing. I was fucking heated. I was so mad. You can write.
Jesus Christ.
What I mean, so you agree with me, right? Like that would be, you would do the same thing. You would let it bandage for a day and then take it out and let it air out a little bit, dry it so your skin's not all fucking whatever you call that. You know, like when you're in the shower.
Wrinkly?
Yeah. There's a name for it. Yeah.
Prune.
You know, you bandage, then your finger will be all like pruny under the bandage, and it's like, I don't. You need to let that dry out a little bit. Give it an hour of air, and then bandage it again.
Well, I've cut myself a lot, because I just want to feel something. No, I've cut myself a lot because of working in the restaurants, and even after I was a dishwasher and I was a prep cook and a cook, I cut my hands so many times, and you would just have your own system that you develop. Like, you're cutting mushrooms and fucking boom, and you're like, oh. And all I would do, I wouldn't even put alcohol. I wouldn't clean anything. I would wrap paper towel around it, wrap tape around that, and just go back to work. And everybody had just their whatever system it was. I'm sure a lot of people cleaned it like you're supposed to. But then, yeah, after I feel like it's not bleeding anymore, I would take the bandage off, and if it's not bleeding, then I'm good. Then maybe I'd rebandage or whatever, or not, and just let it air out. I thought the only way to really have it scab up is from air and being dry, and not being
so
wet.
we're all wrong. And like, I know this is obvious. This next thing I'm about to say is, don't do this. But I've done it a million times. Is if I'm outside working and I fuck something up and I'm bleeding, well, if I go spend the time to clean it out and bandage it, we're adding hours and hours and hours to this whole process. If I'm outside and I'm working and I fucking cut my arm and I got blood coming out of it, I legitimately will just forget about it. Let it bleed. Let's go back to work. Let my shirt catch some of this blood. Within 20 minutes, the blood's going to stop. Little dirt's going to get into it. It's going to scab over. We're done. You know what I mean? By the time I get off work, it's a non-issue. You know what I mean? And bam. But the person that went into the bathroom, cleaned it up, put a bandage, by the time they get off work, they're going to open the bandage. It's going to be fresh as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, still bleeding. You know what I mean? Or, you know, like, and I've always been of that mindset. Like, that's how you fucking deal with cuts. But then I will say, with the finger thing, almost losing the finger, infections aren't no joke. So don't fuck around with that, because an infection can really fuck you up. And if that gets into your bloodstream, that can really fuck you up. You can die from that. So even a tiny cut, but the airing out thing, I'm all about cleaning it. Keep that shit clean, but let it scab. Like, fucking after enough time, let it fucking scab up. Like, and they're all saying no. They're all saying no. Everyone says, nope, keep it wet for as long as you can keep it fucking wet.
Yeah. See, I'm more with you, and it just comes from working in a restaurant background, how there'd be so many little cuts all the time, and you just, like, I think what you're kind of saying is try to fuck with them as little as possible. My first thing was just stop the bleeding, and after the bleeding's done, I don't care about it.
Go back to work. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just feel like once something's
gloves.
scabbed, then you don't need to worry about shit getting in there anymore. You know what I mean? Like, then you can go grab food or you know, or whatever, bacteria shit, or like dirt and crap, and it doesn't matter anymore because you can just wash it off and nothing ever got in the cut.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, we're wrong. That's what the internet says. I was so
I'll
heated
admit
up
to being
about
wrong.
it.
Yeah. I'm not a doctor. I trust doctors, but
well, okay.
everybody has their
So
own system.
I came home and told Cheyenne, and me and Cheyenne have talked about this. She's talked about it a lot more, and I know I've said this statement on this show before, and I know it's a real ignorant fucking thing to say, but I'll still stand by it. I think people are just retarded, no matter what. Like, most people are pretty dumb, and I think a lot of life is people faking it and making it. You know what I mean? Or they just like, and so why are doctors any different? Why are medical? You're telling me just anyone that's in the medical field is just super smart? No, they just went to school. Maybe
They're smarter than you.
See why? Why have you met?
Because you're retarded too.
Okay, but like, I can speak from, I'm definitely not in the medical field at all, but I can speak in the construction field. You have engineers who spent a lot of time in fucking college, took a shitload of math classes, and 90% of them are fucking retards. Like, real dumb fucking people. Real dumb smart people. And so it's like, why is the medical field looked at any different? Like, they're just human beings. And, okay, now keep that in mind. Now, I want to show you Exhibit A, because Cheyenne's brought this up before, and she says, I knew nothing about any of how this worked. But supposedly, when it comes to giving birth to babies and childcare, it's literally like a joke amongst mothers with what the medical field tells you to do, and what you're supposed to do changes every year. Every year. It's a whole brand new set of rules. Like, oh, no, this is how you're supposed to do it. And then back in the 70s, they're all a bunch of retards. That's not how you're supposed to do that with babies. So you've changed shit 30 times on how a baby's supposed to be cared for. Are they supposed to be on their back? Are they supposed to sleep on their side? Are they supposed to sleep on their stomach? Every year it's a new fucking thing. When we were in the hospital, the doctor would say a bunch of shit. You'd walk out and trying to be like, 5 years ago when I gave birth to Aurora, they told me complete opposite shit of what I'm supposed to do. So, you know what I mean? Like, doctors get shit wrong all the time. You know what I mean? Like, there's arguments amongst them all the time on how shit's supposed to be treated and what you're supposed to be doing. So it's like,
well, yeah, it's like every year they say, you know, oh, eggs aren't good for you. Now they're good for you. Then milk's good for you. Then milk's not good for you. Then you're supposed to drink 2 liters of water. Then you're supposed to drink 1 liter of water.
exactly.
But I think that's different. I think that's different than, like, if I go to the ER here, should I listen to what the doctor tells me
and
or
that's
not?
not what I'm saying. You should not, that you should or shouldn't, but I mean, can't we plug the cut argument into that whole thing? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
because I guarantee you're going to have doctors that side with me. And even if the majority of doctors side with the other side, I still don't think you guys are right. Fuck you guys. Like, I let it air out like fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctors are smart, though. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
They can
Doctors are
they
smart,
can
and I
definitely
trust them.
be wrong.
Yeah,
You know what I
they can be
mean?
wrong.
They can a
Yeah.
lot of times. Misdiagnoses are a real fucking thing. It happens all the
Yeah.
time. So stop. I'm saying yes. When something's wrong with me. Of course I'm going to go to a doctor, and of course I'm going to listen to what they say. But
Yeah.
they're just human beings. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
all they are. They're not special in any way. They just tried harder than you did. But in the end of the day, they have an ego. You know what I mean? They're human beings. And
Yeah.
shit was just taught to them. They just opened up a book and started reading. And doesn't mean it's right though. You know what I mean? Like you're dealing with very complex bodies. You know what I mean? Like for them to just be right 100% of the time, come on. You know what I mean? Like they're not God. They can't like look into you and be like, oh nope, that's what's wrong with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I know I'm ignorant. I'm a real ignorant piece of shit, but yeah.
It's a weird one.
Yep.
Thanksgiving's this week.
Oh yeah, it's a Thanksgiving episode.
If you have your Christmas tree up already, I just want to let people know you're not supposed to do that until after Thanksgiving.
Well, except there's a Christmas tree shortage going on. So
Well, I hear there's also a turkey shortage. So good luck with that, everybody. I'm going to be not eating turkey.
there's fucking
I'm gonna be
shortages on everything. I don't get what's going on.
Yeah,
Everything's
there is.
short. We're just fucking gonna be living off Tostino's pizza. Supposedly, I think I've said this before, but I guess the world is out of fucking hardy plank siding right now. Out. It's just done. You
What
just
is
can't-
hardy plank siding?
The most used siding ever.
Vinyl?
It's the fucking it's like concrete board. You've seen it on a million houses. It's what they use on
Okay.
almost anything. It's just horizontal fucking hardy siding. Comes in 12-foot boards. 90% of fucking houses have it on them.
Gotcha. I just got siding put on my house.
Was it hardy, or was it
I don't know. It's vinyl.
okay? Maybe not. But
I know it was ordered in like June and it didn't get here until like 3 weeks ago. So,
yeah, crazy world we live in. The fact that we're out of hardy siding is just insane. It's just insane. And like, why is it? Why isn't that? Why is
Christmas tree shortage?
Why is that? Like, honestly, I mean, not to get like on the fuck Biden type thing, but it's like, why is Rittenhouse? Honestly, that's what we're all talking about right now. When I don't know, there's major things going on in the world, and people are talking about it. But I mean, isn't a massive shortage of a shitload of products a little bit more pressing than if Kyle Rittenhouse goes free or not? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it is.
that's a
Yeah.
pretty big goddamn deal when you have, massive fucking problems going on with shipping.
How? What is that? Oh, so the other thing, I was listening to a radio show being like, and they were saying there's a turkey shortage. That's not coming overseas. Same with Christmas trees.
It's the Illuminati.
That we have turkeys in America. I don't see how that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and all these, there's so much like yeah. Then it's because the Hardy thing they're saying is COVID. They're blaming it all on COVID. That production just slowed way down because of factory shutdowns, and now it's all caught up to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the stock is gone, and we haven't created enough, and now we have a huge demand for it. And the same with fucking, and that was the same with wood, a few months ago. Prices are starting to go down on wood, but it was the same things. They shut all the plants down, which, I mean, I've said it a million times on the show. It's just, it's so fucking irritating. I said this from day one. You can't just shut the world down and things aren't bad or are going to start happening. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculous. You can't just, ammo shortage, wood shortage, now hardy shortage. Now all the ships can't fucking come in. Like, y'all need to just go back to work and shut your fucking TV off is what everyone needs to do in the world. Just stop with the whole COVID thing. No one gives a fuck. Go back to work.
I feel like everybody is back to work. Maybe there's still just the shortage, though.
Well,
maybe not. Maybe not. Because
Well,
I guess everywhere is still hiring. So maybe everywhere is running. There's just people that don't want to work anymore.
well, and here you get a good amount of people that have just gotten, because they did away with the max on benefits you can pull out. So you just have people and permanently on unemployment. You know what I mean? Which that just stopped a few months ago. So it's like, oh, everything's open back up. But yeah, why is there shortages on staff everywhere? Because you're paying them to stay at home. Come on. Fuck off. Come on. Like,
Yeah.
just stop paying them. Everyone needs to go back to work. Fuck off.
Yeah.
We're in a weird situation right now, dude. Really bad. And I really feel like it's not like people are talking about it, but they're not talking about it enough. Like, dude, you can't have all the houses in the world going for. You can't have rent at $2,000 fucking dollars. Like, that is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. This is shit is going to crumble. Fuck you. Honestly, dude. Dude, $2,000 a month. Honestly, just break that down, like, and then just apply that to everyone in the United States. That doesn't work. That's not going to fucking work. And it's shit's just.
Hopefully it adjusts, not crumbles, just adjusts. You know what I mean?
I mean that's the hope, but then everything. So we have this problem, and this problem is getting worse and worse. And instead of addressing the problem and working at trying to fix that problem, we just keep spending more money. You know what I mean? Like, and then when you say that, it's like, oh, you fucking Republican. Just, oh, fuck it. You know, you're just a dumb piece of shit. This fucking, Build Back Better plan. You're just a fucking ignorant son of a bitch. It's going to work. It's like, you can't
don't you want to build back better?
I mean, we can't keep spending money. You know what I mean? It's the same with, you can't just shut everything down. It's like, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, you can't. Like, no, yes, we did it. Now there's problems coming. Stop denying that these problems are real problems. You know what I mean? All right.
Yeah.
We're in a real pickle. I think we're in a real pickle, and I think we're about to experience some weird shit in this country, like real weird shit.
Dude, and I have to fly again in 2 weeks, and it's gonna suck. I hope to God it goes fine. If something happens where I get caught in some clusterfuck, I'm going to Kyle Rittenhouse this whole fucking place. I do not want to get stranded again like I just did a month ago. Or stuck in some blizzard or something. Which I get as an act of God. And that would be more understandable than, like, lack of crew or computer crash. Please let these fucking flights go well. Flying outside of L.A., I do not want to get stuck in some fucking, the internet's down and power's out in the whole country. Oh, fuck. You never know. That's the problem with leaving your house. You can just get stuck in something.
That's the problem with leaving your house.
Yeah.
We gotta definitely wrap this up because I got 8 minutes before this goes. One last little funny story I'll leave you with is I come home the other night and my daughter just comes up to me and she just goes, Daddy, and she just, and I'm like, what the fuck? And
middle finger.
It's just fucking right in my face, a foot from me, just flipping me off. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I go through like 3 different emotions within 10 seconds. You know, I'm just like, and I'm just flabbergasted. And then fucking Cheyenne chimes in and she's like, she like hits me and she's like, she's got a cut on her finger. And I'm just like, oh, like, I don't know. It was just so funny. And then she's like looking at me like, why did you get so weird when I showed you my cut? And I'm just like, so I taught her what flipping the bird was, which I don't know what a good thing is, but I didn't want to leave her not understanding why I reacted the way I did. You know what I mean? Like, because she's like,
No, that's true.
So I was like, this means something bad. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, it means, blah, 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 blah. I thought it was funny. It was a funny little situation. Coming home and having a 5-year-old fucking flip you the birds, pretty weird.
Yeah. It's never happened to me.
Awesome. Well, episode 74. Jesus Christ, that number is getting up there.
Well, for one thing, as far as the episode count goes, I feel like we've been in the 70s for like 2 months.
Yeah, we have been in the 70s for 2 months for a long period of time. Well, we love you guys. I got to get going, but this was a good episode. We got 2 hours, 36 minutes, something like that. So banger of an episode. I'm Eric. This is Brad. Please email, like I said at the beginning, with any topics you'd like us to discuss. It'd be fun. If you have anything you would like us to argue about, I will argue about anything. So bring it on. Bring it on. We love you guys. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving.
Sometimes it's hard to get out of it. Broke my heart in the dark. I was just trying to feel something, falling asleep to the sound of it. Always used to lay you clean up the messes, down on my knees, thought I couldn't stand up on my own. Turns out sometimes you're stronger alone. Bringing out the fight, yeah, bring on all the lightning. 'Cause I'm looking for a hero, look inside the mirror, I find one. Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard. Pick it up, dust it off. When I fall down 11, I get up 12. Don't need nobody else. Yeah, I can save myself. Got burned, but I learned. Our scars make us who we are. Now I'm 10 feet tall over my demons. Remind me no one's got me like myself. Yeah, I love me without any help. I'm the best thing to believe in. So I'm bringing out the fight, yeah, bring on all the lightning. 'Cause I'm looking for a hero, look inside the mirror, I find one. Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard. Pick it up, dust it off. When I fall down 11, I get up 12. Don't need nobody else. Yeah, I can save myself. Oh, 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 oh. I could crumble into pieces, but I got a million reasons why I won't. 'Cause this heavy is a season, and the sun is always right behind the storm.